200 long days since we've seen CFL football, but tonight a new season kicks off. A rematch of the Western semifinal is first up as a new era for both teams gets underway. To get us set, here's Matthew Shinetti.
This season will end in Hamilton, and this season will end the same way it always does. The cold wind, the confetti, and the finish line. And all of it painted in classic November Canadian gray. Everyone knows that, but no one knows the road there. Tonight is where it starts.
Hey, fellas, the stage is set.
Put your best work on tape.
Do not be afraid to do the hard job.
Bo Levi Mitchell has been the guy many times before.
Now Mitchell's going to look to strike right away towards the end zone, and he does. How did he do that?
But he's only moving into the future from here. He'll learn with the rest of us if he can now win it all in black and gold. Chad Kelly could be the guy, and not just for one moment, but every moment. And the Argos could repeat.
109th Grey Cup, and we're the champions, and we're not done.
Or Cody Fajardo will get his championship moment. Or maybe it's Jeremiah Masoli's time.
Mazzoli gets rid of the ball and a touchdown. Oh, did they ever need that?
But time isn't really what matters. For a sport so fixated on running clocks, this isn't a race to see who gets there first, the fastest. This is team versus team, to find out who consistently gives that little bit more. And is that team still Winnipeg?
Great teams find a way. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers continue to do that. They're a great football team.
Or are the Bombers finally at a point where it's no longer enough to have an imposing offensive line, relentless defensive line, overwhelming linebackers, game-changing receivers, and the two-time MOP? What if, once again, they're just missing something? And it's Jake Maier who becomes just another championship-winning Calgary Stampeders quarterback.
The future and the present right now is Jake Maier here in Calgary.
Or Edmonton will figure it out, and it'll be as great as it used to be. Or all of Rider Nation will raise Trevor Harris up. Or the season will end with Vernon Adams Jr. lifting the Grey Cup.
Vernon Adams, as he's wont to do, can make it happen.
Every moment is a possibility. No one knows who will make it all the way there. Everyone just knows the chase. And this is how it starts again.
Showing off the speed. Will he score? He will. Looking towards the end zone. He got it. Oh, bounces up, and it's picked off. What is happening? This is why you love Canadian football.
Welcome to the 2023 CFL season.
Arrived in late August.
Jake Maier's last meaningful game was a loss to these BC Lions. I love what he said. He said, you know, you learn from experience, you learn from losses. He said, forget that. I'm pissed, and I'm glad we got them on opening night this year. Let's go!
Yeah, I love that. Hey, welcome back, Chaz. Yeah, 6-year vet. There he is, Vernon Adams Jr. You saw him in those highlights. He can do it all. He went 4-2 as a starter last year for those BC Lions. He's the new and improved VA Jr. A guy can actually get it done. And in this offense with Jordan McSimic, his offensive coordinator, he's going to be fabulous this year.
Helmets.
Kadeem, cash, and carry. Can he carry that ball? Yes, he can. In only 14 games last year, he led the league in rushing yards. Yards per attempt, and was second in touchdowns. But you know what I like about him so much? He's always having fun, baby, and that's what it's all about. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun now, Steve. Stegall. A season ago, he had 1,401 receiving yards, 85 receptions, 11 TDs, named a CFL All-Star. But Dominique Rhymes says that this offseason he has been attacking it super hard, so expect big things from Rhymes and expect big things from the CFL on TSN. Crew and panel, we are some kind of fired up for a new season, to say the least. Kate Burness alongside David Sanchez, Matt Danigan, Milt Stegall. It is wonderful to see all of your faces, gentlemen.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Back at you, Kate.
Yeah, Milt.
Be here, good to be back.
Milt's not saying anything.
Milt's nervous.
I've been talking the last 3
Milt,
hours,
are you nervous
man.
for television? Is it your first time?
I've been nervous for 15 years. I'm always nervous. If I'm not nervous, I'm not ready.
That's true.
That's the way I look at it.
You're ready. You've had 6 months of studying. Well, the rest of us were working. Milt's just been sitting at home going through all the stats, going through the notes. Okay, we're going to get to the game in just a moment, but now let's go over to our Farhan Lalji. And he will join us live from Calgary. And Farhan, there's so much to be made right now about Jake Mayer and him taking the reins of this team. But when you look at the team, it has to start and end with Kadeem Cash and Carey, who led the league in rushing last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you heard Milt talk about all his stats in a limited schedule. And I want to know how much they try to get him established early because, yeah, this is Jake's team for the first time, even though he got a bunch of starts last year. The other thing is the Stamps are going to be missing potentially 2 starting offensive linemen for this game. And I think there's some question marks in the receiving core, and there were last year. Who's going to be that third guy to step up around Malik Henry and Reggie Bagleton? So while they establish all of that, get Cash and Carry the ball. And we talked a lot about this last year going into the playoff game when they played in the West semifinal at BC Place. And surprisingly, the Lions didn't stop Kadeem Carey. Dave Dickinson stopped Kadeem Carey. He had just 8 carries in that game, and it was a 1-score game until late in the third quarter. And even after the fact, he admitted, yeah, I wish I'd kind of pounded it up in there a little bit more. So will he take that approach? Because when you look at the Lions' run defense, it wasn't great a year ago. They haven't made significant changes, and it wasn't great in the preseason. So will they try to establish that? We always talk about run game in November. I want to see what Calgary does with their run game on opening night, the earliest ever start to a CFL season here in June in Calgary.
Farhan Lalji coming in hot. The first game of the season with the shades. I like it. I like it a lot.
And a golf shirt.
Milt, when we were talking about this team, too, and I get it, too, there's a huge focus on Jake Mayer and what he can do now as the leader on this team. But Farhan's right. Yes, it's Kadeem Carey, but there's a lot of weapons on this team and a lot of returnees on this team as well, too.
Yeah, and this team will once again be built offensively around their run game. Of course, Jake Mayer is the most important piece. Any CFL team your quarterback is, but this team, bread and butter is their run game, and it's just not Kadeem Cash and Carey. They have Peyton Logan, they have Dietrich Mills. They're going to run the ball early and often, and that's going to allow their quarterback, the mayor of Calgary, to get going. But this is where it starts. They average over 125 yards a game. Last year, they rushed for 2,000 yards, and they have 3 guys who can do it. Of course, all 3 of these guys are going to be difficult to get them on the roster together, but as a running back, the more great running backs you have, the better your running backs are because they don't take that pounding game in and game out. So we know this team is going to be built around their running game, and everyone in Calgary is excited about it because they have 3 guys who can go out there and get it.
Establish the line of scrimmage. That's what Dickey's all about, both sides of the football. And that guy averages 6.6 yards a carry last year. And then you got Dietrich Mills, who's a downhill runner. He can flat out get after it. You got Peyton Logan out of the backfield, just an amazing thing. That Mark Mueller is the play caller this year, not Dave Dickinson. You heard Farhan talk about Dave wanting to maybe go back and give Kadeem some more carries in that last loss to BC. Well, that's not going to happen because Mark Mueller's calling the plays, you know, so he can tell Mark what to call, and I always veto it, but I think it's a huge dynamic, and I'm excited for Mark Mueller as the new offensive play caller. He's been in the league for 10 years, and this is a great opportunity for him, right?
Well, a new play caller, what's the thought process?
He's learned from one of the best, and that's Dave Dickinson, and he'll be fantastic in this role. And of course, he's a nephew to the late great Ron Lancaster. Absolutely love this, the heritage and whatnot. But establish a line of scrimmage, and that passing game is going to open up, fellas. And that's why they only gave up 15 sacks last year, because they were able to establish that line.
And for Jake, so he's now it's his team, like you say, new play caller, probably similar similar system, but their run game, most around the league believe that they have the best run game consistently over the past 5-6 years. It's them. Whoever's at tailback, Calgary seems to have usually the best run game. So expect them, like you both say, to lean on that. Well, on the outside, why not? On the outside, it's Malik Henry, right? He's that guy. And the more we look up at number ones and does Calgary have a number one? There's no question. He's that guy. When we look at his film, I think you would agree, Mill. He's special.
He's a DB,
dude.
Put fear.
He can go.
Deep ball.
He can flat out go. And then Reggie Begelton, who as a guy that understands defenses, understands this offense, can work the middle and be somewhat of a security blanket as well as a playmaker.
But after that, who do they have? That's the problem right there. That's the problem.
Yeah, you know what, too? A little love to Reggie Begelton, too. I mean, he had a really nice season. He had 85 catches, 957 yards, 6 TDs, but we expect those numbers to be much bigger this season as well. But we'll see what the mayor can do in Calgary. All right, coming up after the break, we have plenty more on the pregame. All your last-minute betting decisions. Oh, we've got you covered. Aaron Korolnik stops by, and we give you our best bets as well. So here's your FanDuel 5, the 5 most stake touchdown props for tonight's showdown between the Lions and the Sams. Dominique Rhymes leads the list for the visitors, while BC's new starting running back, Taquan Mazzell, is a popular choice to find the end zone at -115 for Calgary receiver Luther Hakabanu is value play at +260 to score a touchdown. All right, time for the experts' picks of an anytime touchdown scorer. Expert number 1, Davis Sanchez.
Even though Kadeem Carey is not the starting... No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Kadeem Carey, I got him getting the end zone. I know it seems obvious, but you asked me the question, I'm going to give you the obvious answer. Sweet. Kadeem Carey gets an end zone.
Yeah, and we're tallying scores this year, right?
Okay.
And so I'm right on your tail with Kadeem Carey. You know, this guy, he's a beast, and I think he's hungry, he's fresh, and he's a violent runner. And he can not only do it out of the backfield, toting the rock, he can do it catching it as well.
For me, I'm going Vernon Adams Jr. Vernon Adams Jr. had his best year in 2019.
He's not their short yardage quarterback, Mill.
When he was running the ball.
Oh,
82 times, 12 touchdowns. He's going to get in.
That's a bad pick.
That's
That's not good. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we were tallying points. If we were tallying points, I would have obviously taken Kadeem Carey. I was just trying to be a different person on the panel right now. I took Reggie Begelton. No,
that's the easy pick.
It is what it is.
Guys,
you know what?
Let's not yell, but why does Milt get a pick when it comes to betting stuff? He knows nothing about this.
Aaron Korolnik, he knows lots. He took Malik Henry.
You don't even know anything about football, to be honest.
Please take it away, Glenn Suter.
Good one, man.
Kate, great to see the panel and you just in top form already this early in the season. Hey, you guys just talked about the best running team in the league. That was the Calgary Stampeders. The best passing team was the BC Lions. They average over 300 yards a game, and they've got their playmakers back in the receiving core this year, and that core is led by Dominique Rhymes. Dominique Rhymes last year finished second behind Dalton Schoen, the rookie phenom for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in receiving yards. He had over 1,400 yards, and you can make an argument for a lot of receivers in the league. There's a lot of great ones as to which is the best. But I think what separates Dominique Rhymes is his ability to win the 50-50 ball. The contested catch is his superpower, and Rhymes is back, and he said to us in the Zoom calls this week, Kate, that he feels faster this year. So DBs in the league, look out.
All right, well, needless to say, for Amar Dolman, he has done wonderful things when it comes to the BC Lions, taking over from the team in 2021. Not only the team, but the community as well. But the great part is it goes beyond the BC Lions and what he's doing for this community. Here's Farhan Lalji.
Before you ever bought the BC Lions, could you have imagined coaching football?
Absolutely not. But I'll tell you what, these kids, they're so fun to work with, to see how hard they are working today, and also just the joy of them learning and having fun, and also feeling the pressure winning and losing. It's a blast.
but this is the definition of all in. Like, you didn't just buy a team, you fully got embedded in every level of the sport, it would appear.
Absolutely. You know, my sons are playing football, and I'll tell you what, the whole thing is just bringing the community in Vancouver together in British Columbia. So as I said earlier, I think a couple of years ago when we took over the club, we're just not going to go away, and here I am. We've already started a good momentum of bringing back not only CFL football, but just football here in general. I want the football community in British Columbia to know, just not Vancouver, that you've got a friend here, you've got a patriotic brother in this, and we're not going to go away. So if I look at what we've done short term, I think we've done great, but I think there's a long way to go, and it's a never-ending job.
You also got involved in Simon Fraser University and the plight that program is in. So why was that so important to you?
Well, look, I've got a couple of my boys running around here tonight. You know, why shouldn't that tradition continue? We still disagree with a lot of the rationale of what's been going on. Frankly, what if my boys want to play football there? That opportunity should not be closed, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure it's not.
So, AJ, what's it like having your dad as a coach?
It's really fun. I think it's amazing, and he's a really good coach.
Is he really, or is that going to affect your allowance if you don't say the right thing?
I just think he's a really good coach. It doesn't affect anything.
Who's better, you or your brother?
Him.
Really? Are you sure? I saw you throw over there.
I know, but he's way better than me.
I get a lot of thanks just for caring, for investing in the teams, investing in the community, everything I believe in, and it's just nice to feel that, quite frankly. And it was sort of, there was nothing wrong with it out here. It just needed a little more love and focus, and myself and, you know, some key people around me are really doing the job.
What's next for you in terms of not just the BC Lions, but the impact you want to make on the entire sport?
You know, we want to just, number one, save SFE football. That's the priority right now, and I think that will cascade into a lot of good things for the future, is perhaps to get back into youth sports if accepted, and let's start rebuilding right there. But I've really got the ground roots going here with the kids, and I'm all in with this all over the province.
I have big news. We are going to BC. We're going for the opener team. We're really doing it. Now, the BC Lions, I mean, they have a week-long festivities, though. A big one's going to be Friday, June the 16th. There will be an outdoor viewing party for the Riders taking on the Bombers. Our panel will be on site live there. And then the block party starts at 11 a.m. local time to 3 p.m. LL Cool J is going to be performing at halftime. The panel will be inside. I mean, it's going to be a week in BC, but commendable what Amar Dolman has done with this team. Honestly, in just the 2 years, just even the vibe in the city, and you walk around and you can feel it. The fan base is back and on the field as well. Now the ownership is there. Can they get it done on the field?
Yeah. The first thing, back to Amar Dolman and the ownership part for a sec, Katie, is the first thing he said when he became the owner was, and he just mentioned it here, we're not going away. I'm here for the long haul. My family is here for the long haul. And he's a guy that is successful and passionate as him. When he says that, it means something.
Right.
And the fact that they have this stable ownership, and the fact that he wants, you know, football in BC, you heard him talk about SFU, other things, to succeed. It's special. And when we've had owners that are committed and we love. We've had ones that weren't great, and you know how it is as a team. There's a feeling all around when a guy like Amar Dolman is at the top, and I think it resonates, and it should resonate to the football field this season as well as it did last.
And I feel it. And we're in Toronto,
right?
And you know, it's like, wow, they got something special going on the West Coast, and I just hope everybody else feels it like we do on the panel, because it is exciting. And this is just not LL Cool J at halftime. The Trues are playing. The Trues are playing the day before, and this is like an event, and it goes on for many days. And I'm just glad we're going to be there Friday and Saturday enjoying some of that.
This is awesome. And first of all, Davis, I never had a private owner. I was community owned. My entire career. So just to let you know that. So correct yourself.
Suits is right. Y'all are in mid-season form.
This is ridiculous.
But speaking of BC, I mean, it's such great momentum going on there. And we talk about the owner doing great things, but they have to continue it on the field. And I think they will. I think Vernon Adams will step in and will continue it. They have a great supporting cast there. They're going to get it done. But it's just beautiful to see that this town, that province is finally coming out, because it was tough going those games.
Do you like the roster?
I love the roster.
Yeah, so
they got some great talent. They got some great talent.
Keon Hatch is not playing tonight, so that kind of affects things. But what you stat right there about Vernon Adams, you talk about VA?
Yeah.
9.2 yards per carry.
And that's where he needs to really continue thrive and running that ball. That's when he's really at his best.
That's what separates him from the other quarterbacks.
Right.
And it's not just his speed. Yeah, most of them. It's his short area quickness. That's what I've always loved with VA. And that as a quarterback, it's fine to run a 4.3 40, but it's more important to be quick and nimble within the pocket in the short area, and that's what VA is.
He's been working on his feet all offseason, too, to improve that game.
Okay.
He has with a coach out in Montreal, and he's excited about what he's seen. He wants to take it over. He's not going to say he's going to be really good, but he said, I can feel that what he wants to say, and that is he's going to be really good.
Can I get back to LL Cool J for a moment?
Mama
It's not
said knock
halftime.
you out.
No, it's a 45-minute pre-game show. We get a concert before the game itself. It's fantastic.
Nice. Wow.
Hey, let's go over to AK's Prop Shop now.
Here we go. It is week one. It's the Stamps. It's the Lions. And I've got two juicy plays for you with two receivers in tonight's tilt. Let's start with Reggie Begelton of the Calgary Stampeders. I'm on the over of 51.5 receiving yards for Begelton. This is a number you have to take tonight because in the coming weeks, it will be well over 60. He and Jake Mayer have continuity year over year. And I think Begelton and Malik Henry will comprise his two top receiving options in a game tonight against the BC Lions, which will be high scoring, the highest total on the board on FanDuel with an over-under of 51. So expect a lot of points, a lot of passing yards, and a lot of receiving yards for Begelton. Take the over of 51.5. On the other side, Javon Catoy, a receiver for the BC Lions. We're playing the under of 41.5 receiving yards tonight. I know Brian Burnham has retired. Keon Hatcher will miss the first couple games of the season. But we did not see much of a rapport between Vernon Adams Jr., the quarterback for the Leos, and Javon Catoy in 2022. In the 6 starts that Vernon Adams Jr. made for BC, an average of just over 20 receiving yards per game for Catoy, no more than 3 targets in any of those 6 starts for Vernon. So the continuity is not there between the quarterback and the receiver. As such, we're going to start the year with an under for Catoy.
AK Sharp, I think we should all be listening to him.
You know who he's talking about when it comes to betting.
You know who else we should listen to? More Farhan Lalji. He's standing by with Kadeem Carey coming up right after the break.
Don't listen to Chaz.
Well, fans thrilled to be back for another CFL season. And thrilled to see Kadeem Carey, who led the CFL in rushing yards last season with 1,088. He also added 10 rushing TDs, the most by a running back in the league. Here he is with Farhan. It's like Jared on that one. We're just waiting for Farhan and Kadeem Cash and Carey. And
the way he looked, he might have gone golfing.
Honestly, I hope he didn't. I hope he didn't mess him up with the sunglasses comment. Needless to say, we talk about all these big names, right? But looking at other players down the list a little bit here too, Davis. Who's a breakout star on one of these two teams for you?
Yeah, you know what? Clark Barnes, the rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Guelph, is a guy that they like in Calgary. You don't often find, a 3rd-rounder, a rookie that cracks the starting lineup, especially, he'll play some slot out wide as well. But yeah, he's 200-pound guy, 6'1", and he can run. So he's made some plays. He's smooth. Let's see if he could be special and add something to that group.
I like that. I'm looking at their running back, basically their lone running back, Taquan Mizzo.
For BC,
and James Butler, he's in Hamilton, and they need somebody to tote the rock and tote it well and control that line of scrimmage. So he's got to have a breakout season, and they got to pound that running game.
I know some would say, well, he had his breakout season last year, but in my opinion, he didn't. Malik Henry. Yeah, he had over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, but he did that in 13 games. In my opinion, if he plays 18 games, he'll be an elite receiver in this league. So he's the one who I'm looking forward to having a breakout season.
You know who I'm looking for? Farhan Lalji.
He had to go find his flip-flops,
maybe. It's the first show of the season. We're going to find Farhan. We're going to find Kadeem Carey. Where's Farhan? It might be a new segment. We need it sponsored. If there's a sponsor out there that would like to sponsor Farhan Lalji and where he is in this stadium, we'd appreciate. All right, don't go anywhere. Kickoff between the BC Lions and the Calgary Stampeders coming up on TSN.
Chasing Amar Doan around the stadium.
He had to go find his flip-flops.
yada yada yada. Hit it once, no time. Set up, you gon' kill my vibes. Handle my money, don't know my size. Hit them sides, and you better choose wisely. That's my high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Shake it down, shake it, shake it down, shake it down, shake it down, shake it down, shake it, shake it, shake it.
CFL season officially kicks off tonight with a rematch of the Western semifinal. Jake Mayer, the opening day starter for the first time for Calgary. And moving on from Nathan Rourke, it is Vernon Adams Jr. over in British Columbia. Big expectations on the BC Lions and the Stamps this season. We'll see who gets the better of each other tonight. It has been 200 long days, but we are finally back, Canada. It's Thursday Night Football, brought to you by 7-Eleven Cape Berness alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. Welcome back, panel. I missed all of your faces.
Back at you, Kate.
Davis, let's start with key matchups for you in this game tonight.
Yeah, a lot of chat about Vernon Adams, of course, but important for him is protection. He's a shorter quarterback. The interior of that Lions offensive line, I'm not going to say it's a weakness, but I don't know if it's a strength right now. It's Pearson, Couture, and Suk Chung against the big fella. Number 19 on top 50 list.
Yes.
I'm sure he doesn't like it, but Mike Rose is a beast, so we'll see how those three. It's important for the interior of that pocket.
Well, I like it. I'm staying in the interior. We talked a lot about the running game of the Calgary Stampeders and Kadeem Carey and Peyton Logan. So you look at the linebacking core that's going to be saddled with getting and filling those holes and covering these guys out of the backfield. That's Bola Kumbo. That is Ben Halatic, and it's Manny Ragumba. Those guys have got a big challenge ahead of them tonight.
Yeah. Right. For me, Trey Roberson versus Lucky Whitehead. And Trey is one of the best corners in the league, but he only played 5 games last year. So I guarantee the BC Lions are going to challenge him to see what type of shape he's in, to see how he's recovered from his injury, and what way better to do it than one of the fastest guys in the league and Lucky Whitehead. So I'm really looking at that matchup.
You know what? I'm just grateful to be back. Honestly, it has been 200 way too long days. We ended with that phenomenal Grey Cup in Regina. Where the Argos ended up winning it the entire thing. And I can't wait to go back to Hamilton and see what happens there. And I can't wait to see some new quarterbacks in this league, too. Bo Levi Mitchell and Cody Fajardo. There's just so much movement in this league. Can't wait, but let's get started over in the West tonight. Don't go anywhere. We've got Rod Smith. We've got Glenn Suter standing by for kickoff from Calgary right after this.
Thank you, Kate Berness. A beautiful day here in southern Alberta as we look at the Bow River. For the second straight year, the party starts here. It's the Stampeders up against the team that knocked them out in the playoffs last November, the BC Lions. As we come into this season, Glenn, intriguing stories at quarterback. When Nathan Rourke got hurt last year, last August they went out and traded to get Vernon Adams from Montreal. Rourke's gone to the NFL. Rick Campbell has lots of confidence in VA.
Yeah, VA's got the keys, and quarterback's always a story in football, obviously, but this year more than most. It's great to see the panel in their top form already, too. But Vernon Adams is the guy with the keys to the car in BC now. He had a great preseason. In fact, that game against Calgary went 12 for 12, 213, and 3 touchdowns. That's all Rick Campbell needed to see to reaffirm what he already knew is going to be VA's team. And that's the same with Jake Mayer. Transition at the quarterback position last year between he and Bo Levi Mitchell. Bo Levi Mitchell, now a Hamilton Tiger Cat. This is now Jake Mayer's team.
Looking forward to another year of the CFL on TSN, and welcome to our American viewers watching on CBS Sports Network, as 23 is the number. That's William Longley, but this is the year and a new season of the Canadian Football League. The Calgary Stampeders have won the toss, and they want the ball to start with Peyton Logan back for it. So we'll see Jake Mayer soon. Stefan Flintoff gets a new season of the CFL underway as Logan is chased back inside his 5. Product of Tennessee Martin in his second season, and a good returner and a good return here. as he is finally knocked out of bounds. As a nice return by Peyton Logan.
Special teams always so important. This is such a versatile player. We'll see him on offense this year in Peyton Logan. Great speed, great movement in the hole, lateral movement side to side. 43 yards to get the season underway on the special teams. Great field position for Calgary to start.
Up to the Stamps 44. So Jake Maier, first time in 10 years, there's a quarterback other than Bo Levi Mitchell getting the season opening start for the red and white. He took over midway through last season. Maier throwing to his left on first down, and the top receiver for the Stampeders in 2022, Malik Henry, has the first catch for Calgary and looks like a first down.
Yeah, well, when you take a look at the overall record for Jake Maier, it's a small sample size so far. He's 7-5 overall, was 6-3 last year, completed 74, almost 75% of his passes, and a 2-to-1 TD to interception ratio.
So he is marked out of bounds after a gain of 8, a second and short for Maier and the Stampeders. Up near midfield. Handing off. Kadeem Carey, leading rusher in the Canadian Football League last year, and a good start for him on his opening carry. He gets it inside the BC 40, a gain of 18 yards.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders, as the panel mentioned in the pregame show, were the #1 rushing team in the league. Kadeem Carey won the rushing title, and wow, did he have a hole off that left side. Wasn't touched until he got into the Lions secondary.
At 1,088 yards for the Stamps on the ground last year. At the BC 39, Carey again up the middle. Quincy Moget, the safety, greets him and tries to stall him shy of the 30. As we're getting a good dose of Kadeem Carey to start things off, and why not for Calgary as we look at that offense.
Yeah, new left tackle for the Calgary Stampeders, certainly for this game, and Dante Demery, who is going to play at left tackle out of Florida International, 6'5", 330. There's the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League in Kadeem Carey. Malik Henry, top receiver for the Calgary Stampeders. It's a good core. They love the Canadians in that core. That they all had a great camp this year.
2nd and 3. Maier to throw off to his right. And the intended target there was Trey Odom's Dukes. Incomplete. And a 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, so interesting to see how Jake Maier takes over as the leader in this team. I mean, he was very respectful last year with Bo Levi Mitchell as they made the transition, and he had the confidence of his head coach and Dave Dickinson to say, no, you're the guy now. And they couldn't figure out the BC Lions. That was one of their issues last year.
He got pulled in that game in the West semifinal the last time they met. So Rene Paredes, ageless, 38 to be exact, in his 12th season, and he puts it wide left. One of the most accurate kickers in the history of the game, but not the start he would have liked, as it's taken out by Terry Williams. Chooses to take it out of the end zone, and no points on the board as Vernon Adams, undisputed #1 quarterback with the BC Lions. A new lease on his career, and coming up now, in a 0-0 start, the CFL on TSN opening night. Early on in this season opener, McMahon Stadium in Calgary, scoreless tie, BC's first possession with quarterback Vernon Adams. Came over at the end of August last year, handing off, faking that one and completing the pass to Dominic Rhymes. Up towards the 30, a gain of 14 yards right out of the gate for Rhymes with over 1,400 yards receiving last year.
He's got some weapons. He's got some weapons in the receiving core. Dominic Rhymes is the leader in that regard. Keon Hatcher's not even playing in this one tonight. Quick slant by his #1 guy, 1,400, as you mentioned, last year.
Now out to the right, and another first down. It's Lucky Whitehead who takes it up across the BC 40. Another 1,000-yard receiver for the Lions in 2022.
Started 6 games for Vernon Adams last year for the BC Lions and won 4 of them, so he was 4-2 as a starter. But he's got lots of experience. I mean, all the years in Montreal, he's 56 games in 2 stops with the Alouettes.
Back-to-back first downs. Rhymes and then Whitehead. Adams. Something going here as he completes it up to Rhymes again. Not a first down, but close right up around the 50. As we take a closer look at that offense for the BC Lions coming in.
Well, they got some experience in center when they picked up Michael Couture from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's going to be in the middle of that big offensive line. I heard the panel discuss that they may feel like that might be a weakness. I'm not so sure that it is. There's Dominic Rhymes and the starting tailback, Taekwon Mizell. Interesting to see him, BC Lions jersey, a year later than they wanted, but I watched Mizell's highlight tape
out of Virginia,
University of Virginia. Wow. I wanted to watch a couple minutes just to see his running style, things like that, and I thought, man, I was in for the full 20.
I tell you, I agree. Same here. Be curious to see what he can do given the chance. Vernon Adams kept on the 2nd and short, so another first down. BC Lions up near midfield. Adams to pass this time in a 3-man rush, completes it. That's Alex Hollins. Made his debut last October in Toronto, picks up 18 yards and part of a talented receiving core for BC.
Well, I like the accuracy from VA here. Vernon Adams is going to throw it just to the back shoulder on a post. We've seen fade routes with the back shoulder throw all the time, but this is to the back shoulder to protect his receiver in Alexander Hollins. Throw it to that back shoulder. Safety's coming from inside out. You're probably going to take a hit, but if you protect your receiver, you go back after it the next time.
Alexander Hollins in his 2nd year out of Eastern Illinois. 1st and 10 at the Calgary 39. First possession for Adams and BC, and it's been impressive. Swinging it out for Mizell. Gets some space, makes a move, and heads out of bounds. Another touch for Mizell early on in his career. This is CFL debut.
A big signing for Calgary in the offseason was Julian Hauser, an Eastern All-Star, played for Hamilton Tiger Cats, and got him off the edge with James Vaughters back as well from the NFL. Micah Alway will start in the middle. This will be the team that he settles down with. He's been had the suitcase packed for a lot of his CFL career, and there's a shutdown corner, one of the best in the league, and Trey Roberson on the edge. And I heard Milt Stegall talk about the matchup with Roberson and Lucky Whitehead. We're watching that as well.
7th play of this drive, a 2nd and 4 from the Calgary 33. And he completes another one. Vernon Adams is 5 for 5, and that's the first catch for Javon Catoy. And a gain of 9 more yards. This Lions offense in midseason form.
Yeah, I didn't see the defender's number that jumped this, but this was Javon Catoy, a little outcut, and he just sits down in the curl, and that was almost picked off. The timing just good enough. It was Titus Wall. Well, he dropped it and recovered his own fumble.
It did look initially, Wall jumped in front that he would have the pick, but no, this drive continues at the Calgary 24. And this one is to Terry Williams, more of a return specialist as he's wrestled down by Cameron Judge. And so far, shorter pass, but Adams has been perfect. He was 12 for 12 in his preseason appearance against Calgary a week ago.
Looks good. Told us on the Zoom call this week that after all of his high school quarterback days, his college quarterback days, and all to date in his pro days, in the offseason to become a better player, he kept working on his mechanics and actually changed his throwing motion.
He is 6 for 6 for 62 yards. BC is pressing from the Calgary 19. He's 7 for 7 now. Another short one to Williams. You see where they spot it. It is another first down.
Well, here's what I like about what I'm seeing early on here for VA as well is that his processing speed. I mean, he is taking the football in that shotgun snap, and in a split second is getting it to his receivers. It's right now it's like a point guard just dishing it off.
Adams is on. That Lions offense at the Calgary 13. And a 1st and 10. Little inside sweep. Hollins inside the 10 he goes, taken down by Brandon Dozier. 5 more yards, Hollins and the Lions, as they get closer to that Stampeder end zone.
Very interesting play calling there. Just a little misdirection, trying to get Lucky Whitehead to be the decoy. He's got such great speed. Jordan Maximic saying, we're going to get Lucky Whitehead the ball. Don't even worry about that. He's a big play guy down the field. Offensive coordinator will get number 7 the ball, but that last one, he was the decoy.
At the Calgary 8 and a 2nd and 5. BC Lions approaching the end zone. Looking into the end zone. Touchdown! Dominic Rhymes. 8 for 8, Vernon Adams. What a start for the Lions here in 2023.
Well, Matt Dunnigan.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary, number 2. That penalty's declined. Touchdown.
That one's declined. Matt Dunnigan, our Hall of Fame quarterback, sitting on the panel, was talking about Vernon Adams and working with the Montreal passing coach and working on his feet and working on his delivery. How good was his delivery in that drive?
Textbook for Vernon Adams. 8 for 8. 95 yards and a touchdown pass to Dominic Rhymes. 11 plays on that drive as Sean White, another veteran kicker, is on for the point after try.
Great pros always work to improve their game.
Vernon Adams certainly has, and it is showing so far. Early, yes, but impressive for the BC Lions here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Touchdown, Rhymes in a 7-0 lead.
Let's go back to that TD. Dominic Rhymes, best on best against Trey Roberson, the lockdown corner for Calgary, and Roberson respecting that speed and backing off a little bit, opening his hips early to protect against the corner route. Rhymes cuts it off in a 90-degree cut, and the accuracy on the throw for the entire 95 yards from Vernon Adams, outstanding. Almost can't defend that kind of play.
And it's actually 9 for 9. He gets credit for the completion on just that little inside shuffle to Alexander Hollins as well. So perfect. 11 plays, 95 yards, and 634. And that man, Dominic Rhymes, one of the top receivers in the CFL last year. A great start as Peyton Logan is back. To return another one here as Calgary's in a 7-point hole here at home. As Logan takes it out and Mayer comes on again, looking to respond in Mayer's first season opener in his 3rd year in the CFL. For American viewers watching on CBS Sports Network and perhaps watching the CFL for the first time, Suits, let's give a 20-second tutorial on the differences in the game.
Well, the major differences are the first couple there, the 3 downs as opposed to 4 downs, 20-second play clocking as opposed to the 40-second. 12 players on the field, not 11. Field size is different, 110 yards instead of 100, and 65 yards wide. And there's other nuances to the game that really open up sort of the passing game. The final 3 minutes, for instance, there can be 2 or 3 possessions per team in that final 3 minutes because the clock stops after every play. So last year, for instance, there was over 60% of our games in the Canadian Football League were decided in the final 3 minutes. That gets you up out of your chair a little bit.
Sure does. There's rookie Clark Barnes, who caught that pass and a loss of 3 yards. Stampeders are high on him as he gets the start in this one. That as well, but it's a 2nd down and 13 now, and a deep look there. Watch Malik Henry, and the coverage was excellent there for Gary Peters, the veteran, on the coverage there for BC in his 7th year at a Clemson.
Yeah, this is, again, best on best. This is a veteran in Gary Peters just kind of allowing Malik Henry to get that inside cut on the post route, but then knowing he can make it up with the ball in the air. So he doesn't hold, he doesn't pull Malik Henry down. No flag on the play, just a great knockdown by a guy who finished 2nd in the league in interceptions last year.
Cody Grace led the CFL in net punting last year and has to punt this one away. BC, after a 58-yard punt by Grace, Terry Williams on the return. BC BC has the ball back. This man has been perfect so far in a 7-0 lead. BC is a new running back, Taquan Mizell. Glenn had mentioned he's a year late getting his shot at the CFL. With that story, let's welcome in Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, big shoes to fill with James Butler now off to Hamilton. And Mizell had signed to come to camp with the BC Lions. He had his flights, and then 2 days before departing, he had to deal with an emergency appendectomy. Went through the hospital, went through the recovery, and then after that, he had passport issues. So by the time all of that got resolved, it got too late in the season. They decided to wait. But during all of that time, he spent time watching the CFL and trying to learn the nuances of the game. He was originally introduced by the league by Dontrell Inman, the former Argo receiver. The two of them are University of Virginia alumni. And he explained to him about how this league has been alive for over 100 years. You want the stability of this league. He really thought it fit his playing style. The Lions staff wanted to make sure he could handle the physical style. They knew how quick he was. They were impressed with how well he did in pass protection in the preseason games and allowed him to win this spot.
And Farhan, little fake to Mizell as Adams rolls right. Another completion, but that's the first incompletion of this game and season for Vernon Adams off the hands of Dominic Rhymes.
Yeah, just a little bit behind him, but he came up with that a bunch last year. You know, when I looked at Mizell, I mean, first of all, he's a great fit when you think about him at the University of Virginia. And again, in his highlight pack, he's the only guy in the ACC to have 1,500 yards rushing and over 1,500 receiving as well. So you think of a all-purpose type of back, absolutely suited for Canadian football.
Still waiting for his first touch. Adams is to throw again on 2nd and 10, a pump fake and a deep look down the left. And that one is incomplete, intended for Lucky Whitehead. A little bit far, so after that sizzling start, a couple of incomplete passes for Adams, who heads off as the punting unit heads on. And there's Peyton Logan. Impressive rookie year as a running back and a returner for Calgary last year. Back for this one. And the first punt for Stephen Flintoff in his 3rd year at UCLA.
By the way, no fair catches for our CBS viewers.
Had to wait. Picks it up. Picks up a few yards there for Jake Mayer coming up. And talk about a great lineage of quarterbacks with the Calgary Stampeders. Yeah. Going back to Doug Flutie and all the great names.
Major foul, face mask, BC number 23. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
As announced by the referee, Dave Foxcroft. But
hey, huddle. There's no TV, huddle.
And the face mask right at the end of the play. No question there.
So with the return and the penalty, the net is only 17 yards. As BC sees Calgary start in their zone at the Lions 51. For Jake Mayer. Lone side trailing by 7. Handing off Kadeen Carey. And Jake Mayer is mentioning the lineage of Calgary quarterbacks starting with Flutie. And this is something that Mayer takes very seriously as he is now the #1 quarterback.
It's very humbling, first and foremost, and then at the same time it's motivating because you want to continue the tradition and you want to continue the legacies of guys that came before you and have succeeded at the highest level that this league has to offer. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's important for me to be Jake, be myself, you know, not try to chase any other ghosts out there that have come before me.
Yeah, it's a good point. And, you know, Jake Mayer saying that, you know, he respected Bo Levi Mitchell's part of that legacy. His head coach, Dave Dickinson.
Jeff Garcia.
Is part of that legacy. Jeff Garcia.
And Henry.
And you saw Doug Flutie on the Wall of Fame here in Calgary. You know, and I thought last year he handled it so well by just showing such great respect for Bo Levi Mitchell because it was his team at the time, even though the transition had begun. Dave Dickinson really gave him the keys last year, so had that respect. They're still great friends.
Terry Williams, after a 42-yard punt by Cody Grace, breaks one tackle but can't get past the 5-yard line on that last time they met in a game of significance, the playoffs last year, the Western semifinal, Nathan Rourke had come back to start at quarterback for BC, and ultimately the Lions were too much for Calgary in that game.
Talking to the Jacksonville Jaguars coaching staff right now. Give Nathan Rourke a chance. You're going to love him. That's my new favorite team. But yeah, the Calgary Stampeders last year struggled with the BC Lions. I mean, they lost the season series. They both won 12 games and were tied in the standings going into the playoffs, but the Lions got home field because of their head-to-head. And then it was really not a contest in the playoffs. BC took control of that game early on.
So Adams back out. The Lions, and there it is, Mizell with his first CFL carry, and a good carry it is. A gain of 14 yards for Mizell in his CFL debut.
Well, this is just a little example of what that University of Virginia highlight reel shows you. I mean, just planting that left foot in the ground and making a guy miss without even touching him. I mean, you don't go down in a touch football game in that kind of move right in the hole. A little start, a little glimpse of it.
Big one, Mizell gets it up to the BC 25 with a 7-0 lead. A touchdown pass from Vernon Adams to Dominic Ryan. Back to 25. The new running back of the Lions, and is another good carry as he gets close to 10 more yards near another first down. See where they spot this one.
Well, one of the things he's going to have to try to figure out, and it's going to take some time, is the timing from his blocking up front, because there's a yard off the ball in the Canadian Football League, and it's different timing for the offensive lineman in the run game. But he looked like he had a good handle on it right there.
Stays in the short yardage situation and easily pushes his way across. They move the sticks again. Another first down, BC. Rick Campbell in his third season as head coach of the BC Lions, after 6 years as head coach of the Ottawa Red Blacks, their first ever head coach, winning a Grey Cup over Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders back in 2016.
What a start for the Lions last year. I mean, how many times was Rick Campbell asked, are you going to start a Canadian quarterback? Yeah, they won 8 of their first 9.
Lions at the 36 and a 1st and 10. With time, completes another one. A little hop afterwards, too, by Javon Catoy with his second catch of this game, and another Lions first down.
This is one of the things that Vernon Adams can do really well also. If you've watched him throughout his CFL career, he can throw with different launch points. And, you know, that first drive he had where he went 9 for 9, it was all timing, and he was getting the ball out of his hands quickly. That time he had to move around, find a throwing lane, and change his throwing motion to get it out there.
Close to midfield. Mizell again, right side. Picks up a couple more yards as he is taken down by Julian Hauser, new Stampeder. Opening night in the Canadian Football League. An exciting start for the BC Lions, driving down in their first possession. They have a 7-0 lead heading into the second quarter here on TSN. What a story through one quarter of the first game of the CFL regular season as BC leads it. And look at the difference in first downs. And Vernon Adams, the starting quarterback for the BC Lions, an impressive run of 9 for 9 on that opening drive for the touchdown. Pleased to be welcomed now by the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosi. Well, forget other matters. Let's just talk about this game for a second. All these quarterbacks in new places. I mean, Adams came over last year, but your thoughts on how he started?
Well, this is a great start to a game, great start to a season. This is what coaches dream of, right, Glenn? You come out of training camp and you want your gunslinger to be at their very best, and certainly Vernon is putting on a pretty good show so far.
Randy, this must be your favorite part of the year. I mean, you work so hard in the offseason, the entire league does, to get things right and get your rules committee and all those things. But now you get to kick it off and watch some football.
Yeah, and you know what, Glenn, honestly, this was such a big offseason for us with the Montreal transaction, with Pierre-Carl Palado joining us, and so many other big developments going on. And then you just want to play football because it's who we are and what we are. Fun, fast, and entertaining football, which I know you love. And I just couldn't wait for it to get started.
And Adams continues in that groove, completing that one to Hollins for first down and a gain of 23, working their way into Stampeder territory again.
Randy, I want to stick with the ownership. for a second, because the stability of this league, to me, has never been stronger. And I'm thinking of Amar Doman. BC Lions are on the field tonight. My favorite player in the Canadian Football League right now is Amar Doman.
Yeah, you know what? Well, he has brought, as you know, you live out in the Vancouver market. You know, his authentic energy is so remarkable.
Touchdown again, Dominic Rhymes. Sorry to interrupt you there, Kanish. Thought we'd get that in it. I think Amar Doman is happy about this.
That's a very good thing to interrupt. No, he's just brought an authentic energy to the market, but it's not just him. You know, it's kind of everywhere you look. Glenn, to your point, we've never in the league's history had a stronger ownership group than we have in place today. They're a remarkably cohesive, good group of owners. They all want to move the league forward, and now we've got this amazing foundation to build our future on, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I've been listening and following along, obviously, of the talk about the renewed talk about a 10th franchise in Eastern Canada. We've got the game out there again this year. Tell us about that update.
Yeah, you know, there's lots of things happening behind the scenes. There are certainly two possible venues for a CFL team, one being the Wanderers Field and the other being at St. Mary's. We've got groups that we're actively talking to that are very interested in doing it. But Glenn, what we've said to all of them, we love it. We love Atlantic Canada. We've shown a lot of love to the region for all the right reasons in the world, but now we kind of they have to pull us in. And we think we're talking to the right people to make it happen. If it turns out not to be Atlantic Canada, we're going to start talking to other markets like Quebec City as an example. 10 teams, as you know, will make a really big difference in our league.
That drive, 7 plays, 99 yards. Vernon Adams, just asked you about him before, and then Dominic Rhymes. I mean, there's a lot for the BC Lions to get excited about, building on last year. And so far, they're certainly seeing it. Missed extra point by Sean White, so a 13-0 lead. But this is an impressive start for the road team.
Hey, it's the boys. That's all it is. It's the boys. World vision.
Some talent all over the field. I've been calling it, and I think we should. World class, because that's what they are. I mean, and you take a look at the athletes that are making these plays. I know you feel the same way, Randy, and played in the league as well, and leaning into the Canadian content as well.
Well, you know, Glenn, I think there's two things, right? There's the world-class athletes, so maybe 3. Reason to watch, it's fun, fast, and entertaining. And I'll argue, I think it's the funnest, fastest, most entertaining brand of gridiron football in the world. And the reason to care is all that our teams and these athletes do in the markets. The difference they make in the communities that we play in. And that's why we want to get to Atlantic Canada and have that same impact out there.
Peyton Logan on the return, gets it up across the 40 for Jake Mayer and the Calgary offense to come back on in a 13-point hole.
Randy, I've been in a couple of the rules committee meetings, and I know they're in the offseason. I want to ask you about the conscious effort here this year to not make a lot of real significant changes. I think it's a good idea, because there was a few last year that were made, like where the hash marks are now.
Yeah, we wanted to let the bigger changes that we put in place, we don't want to get a year or two of experience under our belts. So this year we really focused on a couple of the player safety and health aspect and some smaller changes. And, you know, every few years we'll look at the game and just kind of ask ourselves, because again, if your measurement is fun, fast, and entertaining, you always want to be looking to be ahead of the curve. But I thought we did a great job last year, and we needed to tone it down. So I appreciate the feedback, Glenn. We all thought it was the right way to approach this season.
And we've talked about it, and we actually put a board up, Randy, about the differences between the NFL and Canadian football, and you have a nice deal with CBS now that they're going to show our games down south.
Yeah, they were so excited. You know, again, and in some ways this off season was marked in a couple of very similar ways. One, the first time I ever spoke to Pierre-Karl Paladot, the passion he showed for wanting to be the owner of the Alouettes was so obvious. And when we went down to see CBS, and they wanted to be our broadcast partner, and they made it very clear from day one, they were not messing around, and in both cases, great outcomes, and they both really wanted to partner with a league. Again, it was a really good off-season for the CFL.
You're watching down south, just give us a chance, because when games are decided in the final 3 minutes, over 60% of them you're going to have some fun with this league.
Absolutely. And then we're going to do, we're going to launch our direct-to-consumer offer. It's a big step forward for our league to try something new and innovative. And again, we're excited about that. So again, there's so many good things going on in the CFL right now. What's going on is the most important thing. Great football with great players. But beyond that, everything going on within the league is really powerful.
I'll tell you what's going on for Calgary right now is a drive into BC territory. Trey Odoms-Dukes had a 21-yard reception earlier, and you see Reggie Begelton getting in on the act now. And yeah, I mean, all these, we talked about Vernon Adams, Jake Mayer, though, after that whole era of Bo Levi Mitchell, and a lot of excitement in Hamilton with Bo going here, and excitement in Calgary to see what Mayer can do. But changes sometimes the rule as well, Randy, that you got big name players moving around, and it does generate some excitement.
Well, interesting enough, we want more roster stability, and we've worked hard on that. We've worked hard with the Players Association on some formulas to help do that. And then this was an off season where we saw some big changes at the most important position of quarterback. So, some seasons, off seasons, it'll be like that. But like these are two really good quarterbacks. These are two really good football teams, and interesting to see how they battle it out.
Randy, thank you so much. I'm so excited about this season. We got a great matchup. Let's get back to watching these great athletes go at it.
Fantastic, guys. Have a great evening.
Randy, thank you.
Enjoy the season.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
On the second down, Mayer. A 2nd and 4. Has lots of time, and he has to just dump it off shy of the first down to Odoms-Dukes. The CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosi joining us in the booth here in the second quarter. But another catch for Odoms-Dukes, but that is not enough for a first down. Rene Paredes will come on and try the field goal.
Not, but a good drive that Jake Mayer needed. I mean, they needed to get some traction offensively and get going after the touchdown Vernon Adams throw to Rhymes, and they kind of came out of the gate a little slow and offensively, and needed this drive to set up a field goal attempt.
Rene Paredes converted on 90% of his field goals last year. He's 0 for 1 in this game, missing from 39 in the first quarter. This is a 45-yard try. And that's something you will see much from Paredes, as he's 0 for 2 now, missing that one. And once again, Terry Williams brings it out. What a great return on the missed field goal, as he gives the Lions a good place to start again. So 2 field goal tries for Paredes and no points to show for it right now, as BC's leading it by 13. The Lions picked up Vernon Adams at the end of August, and this mid-September was his first start for BC right here at McMahon Stadium. And what a game, 25-32. BC went to overtime and beat the Stampeders in OT 31-29.
Well, first of all, I saw a quick glimpse of Brian Burnham there, so I want to thank him for his outstanding career. But yeah, Vernon Adams gets out of the gate here early, 12-14, 151 and 2 touchdowns, looking real sharp.
Stampeders have missed a couple of field goals, so still nothing on the board. 13-0 Dominic Rhymes. Well, nothing there, as he is stopped by Kobe Williams. There's a loss of 1 there, but Rhymes has had a lot of things going right in this first half.
Yeah, Rhymes told us that, when he started the season last year, his 1,400-yard season, he had a bit of a foot issue and didn't really say a lot about it. But it kind of slowed him down, and he felt like he was fighting through it a lot of the time. He said, not so this year in the offseason. Had a great offseason training year. Feels faster. Yeah, okay.
See what he can do with a little more speed. Adams. Oh, it's intercepted. Cameron Judge has it. And he has a good return going. He had an interception return for a touchdown last year, and Judge puts Calgary deep in Lions territory after the first big mistake by Vernon Adams.
Cameron Judge led the league last year in impact plays defensively. That's plays like interceptions, fumble returns, forced fumbles, sacks. They add them all up. They do this formula, and they find out who made the most impact plays on defense. It was Cameron Judge for the Calgary Stampeders. That will give them a spark. Boy, that face mask he's got look old school. It looks a little old school.
Doesn't it? I was going to say with Kadeem Carey earlier, too. Cameron Judge in his second year with the Stampeders had a great impact last year. Weak side linebacker, there's Carey. They'd lost Darnell Sankey the year before, and he came in, and in that linebacking core, he really fit in with an outstanding season in 22.
Yeah, there's the stats that put him into that #1 spot. Big plays or impact plays from on defense. Was the Calgary Stampeder nominee for Outstanding Canadian in the CFL.
Drafted by Saskatchewan back in 2017, second overall. Also played for the Toronto Argonauts. In fact, sent in a trade to the Stampeders before the 22 season. So here we go, 2nd and 11 now. Into the end zone, no. He had Malik Henry. Incomplete. And 3rd down coming up here for Calgary.
Well, you can see the urgency in Jake Mayer, and he steps up in the pocket. I thought he delivered a pretty good throw here. I mean, it's going to end up right in the middle here. And Malik Henry makes this in his sleep last year. Well, he had to go down a little bit for it, but this is one that the Calgary top receiver from a year ago makes 90% of the time. Just missed it there, and Rennie Paredes gets a chance to... Well, they're going to challenge it. I think Dave Dickinson wants to take another look.
Well, Paredes is set up for his 3rd field goal try, but not quite yet with that challenge flag coming out at the Calgary bench. Wanting another look at that play. Malik Henry.
Calgary is challenging that. There was roughing the passer on the previous play. We'll review the play.
Could make quite a difference in a 2-touchdown lead for the BC Lions. Will the drive continue because of that shot by Matthew Betts? We'll be back. The command center is reviewing this. Is this roughing the quarterback on Matthew Betts?
Glancing blow. It is to the head. Let's hear what they say.
Dave Foxcroft, the referee, and the verdict is in on this.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Calgary is charged a timeout. Third down.
It has to be, by the letter of the law, you can't hit the quarterback in the head. That's by the letter of the law. But it has to be a hit to the head, not a glancing touch of the head. And I think, they make the right decision here. I mean, it turns them, but it's...
Ruling it's a glancing blow. It's not...
It's a glancing blow. It has to be a true blow to the head to be a penalty.
So inside the 25, 3rd field goal attempt for Paredes. He was wide left, wide right, and this one is right down Main Street for the first points of 2023 for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, it's a chip shot, but you need it. Even a veteran, you get off to a start like that, the new season, opening game, you're at home, you miss 2 out of the gate. I mean, again, that's unheard of for Rennie Paredes because he's been so good. CFL All-Star last year.
He had a great year, 90% efficiency. In his career, 87.6. He was the CFL's most outstanding special teams player of the year 10 years ago, 2013. He's been around a while at age 38 and is also a firefighter now. Calgary Fire Department, and has to make sure his schedule with the fire department matches up with his schedule with the Calgary Stampeders. Mark Killam, the special teams coordinator, they've worked it out very well that he can continue to do both.
Well, he'll work it out. He'll work it out on the field, and it looks like he has. I mean, even that short one, get him back on track.
We got 3 on the board now, and there's number 3, Vernon Adams, going to work again. Alexander Hollins, a first down BC across midfield, and a 13-3 lead here in the second quarter.
Yeah, first of all, he just threw the pick to Cam Judge, and this time Vernon Adams steps in and throws it in that danger zone in the middle. There's a lot of traffic in there, and he just knifes it in, so didn't let that interception bother.
Gain of 16 for Alexander Hollins. He's had a good first half. Swinging it up now to take Juan Mizell. And he's tripped up nicely there that is Tay Daly, who wasn't supposed to be in this game. He was a last-second insert because of an injury to another defensive back, Natrell Jamerson, and Daly with that tackle.
Moving Rhymes around different spots in the offense and trying to get Mizell out in the open field, but that's a real good tackle.
CFL rookie out of Virginia Tech, Tay Daly. Limiting it to a 2-yard gain, Mizell. 2nd and 8, Calgary 52. rush again. Steps up. Deep look left. Coverage is there for Rhymes. Kobe Williams right with him. Step for step. It falls incomplete. And third down coming up BC.
A little bit of a gusting wind here at McMahon Stadium tonight. Like, see Vernon Adams looking at the flags up at the top of the goalpost there. I think he might have got a real gust of wind that held that ball up and pushed it to the sideline.
Number 20, Peyton Logan, back to receive.
Stephen Flintoff. Punted away to Peyton Logan. Across the 15 and then ridden out of bounds right there. Jake Mayer coming on again. Farhan Lalji will have more on him. Stampeders down 10. Thursday night football opening night. Must have been awkward a year ago when Jake Mayer took over from the legend Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback halfway through the season. Different this time around now that Bo has gone to Hamilton. With more, let's head back to Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, the quote that Jake Mayer gave me on that situation was, we were both the elephants in the room for each other. And that wasn't a shot at Bo. He felt that Bo was always supportive of him, but they were both always in the situation the other player wanted to be in. And even Kadeem Carey said to me after the fact, there was no transition. It was always Bo's team last year. You weren't going to be able to make that switch mid-season. He said to me, Jake did, that in training camp on day one, there were 3 straight completions in a particular drill the first time the first unit offense went out. And they were good completions on difficult throws. At the end of it, he turned around, went back to the offense. The guys that were waiting to come back in, all of them were nodding in approval. They knew at that point that he was dialed in, he had it going, and he felt at that moment on day one of training camp, it was truly his team.
And that pass deflected and nearly picked off by Quincy Moje. Jake Mayer, yet Kadeem Carey had said, to Farhan's point, this is Jake's team now. No question. 2nd and 10, the Calgary 18. With time, to the right, high throw, incomplete. Intended receiver, Luther Hakunavanu. And offensive struggles overall for the Stampeders in this first half.
Yeah, you know, and the one guy can figure that out quickly is that guy, Dave Dickinson, who played the position and understands if the receivers and the quarterback aren't on the same page, why that is. And part of the issues with Calgary's offense so far is that guy, Ryan Phillips, calling the defensive plays for the BC Lions.
3rd 2 and out for Calgary's offense. Grace punting in and a beautiful punt. 60 yards to chase Terry Williams back to his 30, and he has nowhere to go. A flag comes out, and a good special teams tackle there for Charlie Moore.
And a flag on the play.
So awaiting the result of the flag from Dave Foxcroft after that great punt by Cody Grace.
Hey, put one together. Long drive. Long drive. Put one together. Lineman in the side. We need points. Let's go. We need it. Preview. Hey, it's going to be spread right every shade.
There is no foul on the play. It'll be first down, BC.
So no penalty after all. So the Lions, for that booming punt, take over at their 30. They're up by 10, 6-12 to go until halftime of this season opener. Vernon Adams handing it off to Mizell. Left side has room. And a good gain on first down for Mizell of 8 yards in his CFL debut.
Yeah, every offensive line in the league is going to have to work on their chemistry. I mean, that's like the secondary on a football team, is that those guys have to work together across the board and make sure that, you know, they're in sync, and they're starting to get that feeling on the run game. That's a nice hole off the left side.
Lots of time rolling out for Adams. Adams, who wanted Dominic Rhymes. They've connected for 2 touchdowns so far in this game. That one is incomplete, and so a 3rd and 2 is coming up, and the punting unit coming on second 2 and out for BC. Flintoff to kick it away.
Mechanics that Vernon Adams told us about weren't necessarily throwing on the run. It was moving and getting his hip through the throw, like a golf swing, and how your hip and your swing have to be in sync. So he was really strong-arming the ball for all of his career.
52 yards by Flintoff, and hauled down quickly by David Mackey, fullback on special teams, getting Peyton Logan there inside the 40, and a flag does come out on the tackle by Mackey, it would appear.
Major foul, BC number 34. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Major foul, they didn't say what major foul, but let's take a look.
The horse collar?
Yeah, the horse collar doesn't necessarily mean just the very back of the collar. That may have just been a high tackle.
So head tackle up by the neck is, I'm hearing word now, that
up around the head.
So Mackey called, so they moved that up near midfield to the Calgary 53 for Jake Mayer and the Stamps. 5 minutes to go until halftime. The heat was on, and it's incomplete. Nearest player as it lands was Mosier, the BC safety. Second down.
Well, he had to pay the price here, and he knew it, and that just affected the accuracy because Bo Lacombo was coming off the edge on a blitz. He didn't hide it. He comes off the edge here, number 20 down at the bottom of your screen, former nominee for Outstanding Canadian for the Lions back in 21, and that's a big hit on 12.
In his 8th year from Abbotsford, BC, played at Oregon, and a year in Montreal, the rest with the Lions. There again on second down, and they've got him. He is taken down by Matthew Betts, who had 7 sacks in 2022, and number 1 right there to force the Stampeders to punt again.
Just how about the combination of Matthew Betts and David Menard rotating off the defensive end, both Canadians, one from University of Montreal, one from Laval, Betts from Laval, and just outstanding years. You mentioned 7 sacks for him, 9 for Menard. You get 16 sacks from that one position.
He'll certainly take it. Take the ball back late in this first half too as Williams watched it bounce over his head, and then it bounced back, so he had to play it. 63-yard punt. Cody Grace's special team star for Calgary, as he's got the Lions pinned in deep. I think Williams wanted it to roll into the end zone.
Yeah, that's some backspin on it. Sometimes that's affected by the drop of the ball for the punters, that they drop it in a certain way. They calculate that the ball will hit point first, and when it does, it can come back.
And we've seen a lot of that with the Australian punters. There's Cody Grace from Perth, Australia. Played at Arkansas State, coming over and playing North American football, but able to do that on that style of punt, and there was a 59-yard net. So Lions deep. Mizell with the ball. Lots of room up the middle as he cuts it back. And picks up a first down for BC after a 13-yard gain. Taquan Mizell.
Take a look at this run, because again we're getting a real good close-up look. They're feeding the ball. Jordan Maximic, the offensive coordinator, going with the rookie to this league. bunch of touches in this first half.
2:55 in the clock. Fake to Mizell and out to Hollins. A good first half and good yardage after the catch for Alexander Hollins as the 3-minute warning is officially brought in. BC football, BC lead. Opening night, CFL 23.
New season of CFL football, and we've decided to change up a few things on the panel. We're taking the 3-minute warning very seriously. No! I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Anyone else? Smitty?
Kate, what did Glenn? I'll defer to what Suit said here. You guys are in regular season form, mid-season form.
Well, they're already sparring. I love when they're already sparring in game one.
How dare they not take that warning seriously? Here we are, 13-3. Lions lead with the ball at their own 33. Adams had just completed another one to Hollins before the warning. Some movement on the line, and a flag comes out as Mizell has it and grinds out 3-4 more yards. Will they catch Calgary in an offside?
Offside, Calgary number 95. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
New Stampeder, Julian Hauser, who was a Hamilton Tiger Cat for the first 4 years of his career, so the first penalty against the Stamps.
Yeah, that's the first one. I mean, this was the second best team in the league last year when it came to penalties. Second fewest number of penalties in the league. Number one, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Good teams are disciplined. Have to be in football.
So 5 yards up, and it's a 1st and 5 now for BC. They're getting that last carry by Mizell. Swinging it out to him now. Trying to get around Titus Wall. And up close to another first down. Picks up 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1 coming up for BC. Titus Wall wasn't about to let him get around that edge for pushing him out of bounds.
Bringing in Dominic Davis for short yardage.
Adams had handled the short yardage situations earlier, but Davis, who'd made it his specialty, especially in Montreal last year. Davis had 13 touchdowns.
He's great at it, and you know that. Tommy Stevens for Calgary.
Another one.
Great at it as well. And, you know, I'm a big fan of coaches finding a second or even the third quarterback to be your short yardage guy, because, first of all, that's hits that your starter doesn't get. That's the first thing. You know, your short yardage, you're getting hit by linebackers and D linemen no matter what. So it takes away those hits from your starter, but also you have a unit now that works together with a quarterback, the guy with the ball in his hands, that takes great pride in being the short yardage guy and wants to be the best at it. And now you've got motivation to never lose in that 3rd down and 1.
So getting that first down, he said he was good at it last year in Montreal. 4-man rush off to the left. And that one completed to Keenan LaFrance, who was just recently let go by the Saskatchewan Roughriders and has found a new home in BC.
Just giving Taquan Mizell a bit of a break. Bunch of touches for him, both receiving and rushing. 5 carries, and 3 catches, 8 touches in the first half. LaFrance gets one of them just to give him a bit of a rest.
He had only 9 carries for 39 yards last year with the Riders in 11 games. LaFrance got into this one. 2nd and 7, BC 47. And that one close to being picked off. Trey Roberson jumping in front of Terry Williams down low. 3rd down coming up. 1:38 to go until halftime.
Vernon Adams got the Lions out of that hole. Got the field position back. Pending a return from Peyton Logan. And you never know.
Not with the returners in this game, too. Both played their college ball at Tennessee Martin. They used to be teammates, Peyton Logan and Terry Williams, opposing teams here. Logan on the return. And Brooks Parker coming in for that special teams tackle. The season kickoff.
Yes, sir. Ticats taking on the Bombers. Red Blacks versus the Montreal Alouettes. And, of course, Saskatchewan will take on the Elks. Guaranteed win night for the Edmonton Elks, apparently.
Oh, would they ever love that?
Sunday.
It's been a while since they've won at Commonwealth. But we got a Thursday night game, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Kick back, enjoy week 1 of the Canadian Football League. The next 4 nights, almost halftime through game 1. Mayer completing it to Trey Odom's Dukes. We were wondering who a big third target could be in that Stampeder offense, of course, with so much success coming from Malik Henry and Reggie Bagleton last year.
Yeah, and lots of time to put a drive together for at least a field goal attempt here for Jake Mayer. The last 3 minutes of the half, just like the last 3 minutes of the game, you can a lot of plays in there when you have stop time and 20-second huddles.
Gain of 15 yards for Trey Odom's Dukes. Up to the Calgary 49. 1:24 to go. Stampeders trailing by 10. 2 to the right, whistle blows, just with the ball being snapped. And Woody Barron bearing down on Jake Mayer.
Speaking of the 20-second clock, is that what they saw here?
Procedure.
No.
Calgary, number 84. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Procedure that was real early.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 24 seconds. 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Receiver quarterback just a little bit off for Calgary to start this season, to start this game. Adjustments to be made at halftime.
Reggie Bagleton.
Please reset the game clock.
Penalized there. He had 957 yards receiving last year. He's 1 catch for 5 yards so far in this game. They reset the clock. 1:22, the Calgary 44.
Well, it's not one thing in particular.
Please reset the game clock.
They're taking turns.
1 minute and 24 seconds.
Well, Reggie Bagleton is offside on that one, legal procedure, and then you've got the great throw by Jake Mayer to Malik Henry in the end zone, who catches that in his sleep. He dropped that one. That was his turn. You know, a couple of throws that have gone real accurate from Mayer, and that was his turn.
So they reset the clock. Odom's Dukes gets it again. Up across the 50, closer to midfield, and a gain of 9. There's still a second down and long coming up here for Calgary.
Double right.
There he is. Inside, change motion, crossing route.
Big second down here for the Stamps. Late in the half. Oh, off the fingertips, nearly picked off 2. For Bagleton, Mosier coming in on the tip drill and couldn't quite get it, so he's paying the price now, self-imposed.
Yeah, just in case you're unsure as to why he had to do push-ups after that, that's something that the DBs do. Most teams do. This is a chance. That ball's tipped up and, wow, right through the hands. Mosier it was almost like he surprised him. But he doesn't get the handle and does the push-ups. Because in practice, if you miss an interception in practice, DBs have to do the push-ups.
Nobody seems to have to ask either. It's just understood, isn't it?
It's understood.
3rd and 6. Grace. A little confusion there as Williams picks it up. Marcus Sales back with him as well on that punt return as they're stopped down at the 10. Mid-season form.
Getting their boxing gloves on.
They are already not getting along.
Kate's already.
Burness, Stiegel, Sanchez, Dunnigan. And we'll hear what they have to say. And
Kate's got to play. She's officiating the panel at times. At times she's
kind of like herding cats sometimes.
Yeah, herding cats. At times, but psychologist.
You know they're excited too because they're going to Vancouver next week.
Oh,
Hear them talk about that?
Yeah. How good is that? Again,
be there for a couple of nights for the Lions home opener.
Which basically lower bowl sold out at this point. They're opening up the upper decks.
So you got, talk about celebrities. You got LL Cool J, the Trues, and the Panther.
celebrities and celebrities in their own minds.
Flag coming out is Adams. Looks like a hold coming up against BC as he took off.
What a great start in that first drive for Vernon
BC
Adams.
number 65.
Now there's been some adjustments by Calgary's defense as expected, and Trey Roberson is getting a little tighter. It looked like early on they were giving the BC receivers a little bit more room than they wanted to, and they were kind of nickel and diming it down the field. Mike Allway in the middle, and of course Cameron Judge with that pick. So they made a few adjustments defensively, make it tougher on Vernon Adams.
The Stampeders' near misses have been one story, but that opening drive by BC when Adams went 9 for 9, a big part the way BC was out of the gate for that touchdown to Rhymes. They ended up hooking up again. Missed extra point, 13-3, late in the half. Mizell with the carry to get it up across the 10. On that first down and 16.
Timeout, Calgary.
Now, one adjustment that Dave Dickinson might look at halftime is a little bit more Kadeem Carey. I mean, and you know, when I say Kadeem Carey, that's not just running the ball. That's not just handing it off to your tailback. I mean, Kadeem Carey can be used in the passing game. Those little swing pass, get him in space, screen passes both sides, and we haven't seen a lot of Peyton Logan and Kadeem Carey together offensively,
which we thought we might tonight. Carey with 5 carries for 31 yards. A lot of that early on. Jake Mayer discusses things with his offense. 45 seconds to go. Yeah, they might get a chance to run another play or two depending on what happens here. On a 2nd and 9, the BC 11. Adams escapes the heat. Hauser chasing him. Adams, and looks like he is close to a first down. Using the feet, he does, extending this drive with 36 seconds to go. That's the Vernon Adams we got used to seeing in Montreal, especially using his feet and a gain of 11 yards.
Yeah, and the Lions may not, you know, put together enough plays here to get in scoring range and put some points on the board, but had he not got that first down, Calgary may have got decent enough field position on the exchange and enough time to actually attempt the field goal before the half.
Instead, Lions with a new set of downs. Mizell.
Okay, hold up. Good work,
and all down. Micah Allway, the new middle linebacker in Calgary. Former BC Lion, a couple of times around. He started his career there. Also played in Montreal last year, Ottawa before with the Argos too. As you had mentioned, much traveled. Veteran linebacker Micah Allway.
Yeah, maybe this will be it. You know, I mean, think about the team. 8 teams, 3 different stops with the BC Lions for Micah Allway. 8 different teams, including stops in the NFL. And, he carrying that suitcase for a lot of this of his pro career. Maybe this will be the team he settles with.
Interesting first half, and overall a very good one for that man Vernon Adams.
Yeah, one more time.
Play before halftime.
Rock it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Lions averaged 300 yards passing last year, first in the league, and he's on pace to be well over that. Although again, Calgary made some adjustments and made it tougher in this second quarter.
That time, they run out the clock. Jake Mayer's Stampeders trailing it by 10. And yeah, they were close to having more points on the board, but it's been BC's first half, and that man, Dominic Rhymes, with a couple of touchdown receptions from Vernon Adams, including the one in that very impressive first possession, a 95-yard drive.
Yeah, a couple touchdowns. Dominic Rhymes with 8 targets already in this game and has caught 5 of those attempts, just over 60 yards. So he's on pace for a 100-yard game to start the campaign.
Let's go to Farhan now with head coach Rick Campbell.
Coach, let's talk about Vernon Adams to start. 18 of 24, close to 200 yards. How happy are you with his performance?
Really good. It's transforming what he does in practice, so happy with him. Made a big play right there at the end of the half to get out of the half, and they burned their timeout, so that was good.
You also had some moments where you took advantage of the fact they missed a couple of field goals, but after that, your defense was really able to hold them. What do you like about what the D's doing?
Yeah, we have each other's back right now. We threw a pick, our defense holds them, and vice versa. So that's the sign of a good football team that we got 30 minutes to go. It's going to be a tough half coming up.
Coach, thanks for this.
Okay, thanks.
All right, let's send it up to the panel. Here's Kate.
All right, Farhan, can't ask for a much better start from Coach Campbell there. The BC Lions with a great start to this game. Back inside the studios, David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. And Matt, we were talking pregame. Who has more pressure on them going into this one? Is it Vernon Adams Jr. or is it Jake Mayer? Yeah. 2 out of 3 of you said VA, and obviously following up Nathan Rourke. Look, I know it's the opening drive, and we're going to overreact to everything at this point because we've seen half a game of football. But going 9-9, eating up 6-12 on the clock, and ending in a touchdown. I mean, you can't ask for anything better.
Yeah, I saw him before the game. He's hitting the smelling salts pretty good. I went to Davis. I said, look at him, man. He's getting jacked up for this. I love it. And he went out there and played like he was on fire and like he was in total command. And but it was later in the second quarter, I believe it was, and he continued to light up the Calgary defense. And here's a play. And this is a good design by Jordan McSimic. Bring the receiver across. Everybody's peeking in the backfield. And Rhymes climbs the young receiver, Tay Daly, our defensive back, and just undresses him. And the corner is just pitch and catch at that point for his second touchdown in the first half. VA going 18 of 24, 191. And Dominic Rhymes is lighting up the fantasy scoreboard with 23 points already in the first half. So this is what VA wanted to do. This is what he worked on all offseason, working on his technique. A good call from Jordan McSimic, excellent play call. And the comparison, boy, it's really no comparison. VA's outplayed him, but quite frankly, if Rene Parrott is the only kicker that's on the top 50 list early this season, if he's good on that, it's an even closer ball game. And it looks like it was totally dominated by the BC Lions in the first half of VA's play.
Maybe Jordan McSimic should have got the contract at Jacksonville Jaguars. He looked pretty darn good. Not taking nothing away from Nathan. He looked
right.
Right. Look, it's halfback. We agree. Halfback is the toughest position on defense in football. Period. It is. And if you're a taller guy, you can play in space. You're really, really special. We have some of those guys right here. They get caught up. Trey Roberson and Kobe Williams are both corners. The strength is up top. They get there late, and Trey runs over, ends up in the slot where he's not used to being. And Dominic Rhymes, he just pre-opens here. He takes one pedal, opens the gate, and that's an easy pitch and catch. Trey Roberson, a taller, longer guy, not used to being in that slot. That was an easy touchdown, but Dom Rhymes went nuts and great first half of that BC Lions offense.
On the flip side for Jake Mayer, too, obviously not the start that he wanted, and it's early on again, too. But, Milt, when it comes to QBs in this league, we know how critically important they are. When you see anything near the head, it's like an alarm goes off.
And I'm not going to get criticized for this.
No, you're not.
You're soft, Milt. Well, it is a tap. It is a graze. It's not much. But the rule says you can't hit a quarterback in the head regardless. And this call, it wasn't called. It was challenged by Dave Dickinson, and it was overruled. I don't understand that. So now it's a subjective call, right? So the official who's watching the quarterback, he's going to determine how hard the hit is regardless of how hard it is, it should be a flag. We're trying to protect our quarterbacks. There should be no gray area. It's black or white. If you get anywhere, if you touch the quarterback, I don't care, regardless how hard or soft it is, it should be a flag.
You can't even whisper in the ear in today's game without a penalty being called. And I'm with you. And I didn't play in an area where quarterbacks were protected. And defensive players know that he can't touch the guy above the, he can't hit the helmet. He clearly hit the helmet. So all season long, now we're going to have all these subjective calls.
Exactly.
Oh, he didn't touch. He didn't he touched him. That's a flag.
Look, we also have all season long to debate this. I'm so sorry because we have to get to this. I don't know if you guys heard, they said on the broadcast, we're going to Vancouver. We're going to Vancouver for the Lions opener. It's going to be great. Basically, the BC Lions are partying all week long, but you can actually join us on Friday first. This is going to be a nice BBQ tailgate over at Terry Fox Plaza. We're going to be live during the game between the Bombers and the Riders outside. Party starts at 4 Pacific, and then on Saturday, June the 17th, we got a backyard block party beginning at 11 a.m. Local. The Trues are playing LL Cool J 45 minutes pregame, and then we are live from BC Place. Don't act act like that is the most fun we have had to open a season, Chaz.
Fired up. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Do we have? Can I mention something about the hit there to the head?
Go ahead.
Real fast, guys. I disagree with this real fast. If you look at guys coming off the edge and bending the corner, I'm not going to argue the rule because the rule is what it is.
It's the rule.
But it shouldn't be. If a guy comes around the corner, he's bending. How do you play defense trying to get your hands up at the quarterback? If you glance a quarterback's helmet as you're bending a corner, coming at the quarterback with your hands up, it's not a flag. If you hit him in the head, strike him
in the helmet.
If you strike him in the head, it's a penalty. If you glance as you're bending and turning the corner as a D lineman, it should not be a penalty. If it is, that's the rules. Then you need to fix it.
That's the rule.
You can't play defense that way.
How you going to fix that?
Glance.
You can't fix that.
We're going to debate this through this entire commercial break. Sorry, gentlemen, we have to take a break now. Coming up after this, we're going to talk about the Ticats taking on the Bombers tomorrow, and they're going to continue their debate.
They don't know my size. Pick them sides. You better choose wisely. That's my high. 1, 2, 3, 4, so up to 5.
I miss this music. It is Friday Night Football, and what a great game we have for you. Tiger Cats taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Pre-game begins 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, with the game kicking off just after 8:30. Obviously, the big storyline in this one, we have Bo Levi Mitchell starting for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Chez, predictions.
Predictions? I don't,
for Bo.
For Bo, okay.
Yeah, not for the game.
I don't get predictions this early.
No.
Yeah. I think, look, you talked about earlier about a new system. He's been in the same system for a long time. This will be new for him. So, yeah, there might be, some time to get used to that system. But he's also seen every defense. He's a guy that computes things quickly, and he looked pretty darn good in the preseason. So I expect...
He looked good in the what?
In the preseason?
The what?
Yeah. Anyway, I expect him to be moving. Oh my goodness! You two busters. Oh man! I thought he was good in the preseason. He looked sharp, and that offense, the offense looked pretty good. So I expect Bo to start pretty fast.
I don't know. I don't have any expectations. I just don't know who he is. I don't know who Hamilton got. I understand the exuberance and the excitement about having a caliber quarterback that Bo once was, but for the last 3 years, he's been injured, and I just hope that he's healthy, because if they have the healthy Bo, I think the Hamilton Tiger Cat fans and football team has got a keeper. I mean, how can you not? But I just don't know who he has. I'm excited to watch this football game play out and see how he does go out there and perform.
I mentioned this earlier, that I think he's going to do well eventually, but it's going to be difficult coming out of the block against this Winnipeg Blue Bomber defense, as you mentioned. Him being in a new offense, he hadn't, never been in the same offense for 10 years.
We're talking about Bo.
Yeah.
And, you got the player of the year, Zach Claris, on the other side.
You should care about preseason, because you played 15 years and never played in the postseason. If anyone should care about the preseason, it should be you.
Man, get on him, Milt. You got on me last year. Come on, get on him,
I'm going to get him. We don't have time. I'm going to get him. He going to get up after that.
You better run.
Halftime stats brought to you by 7-Eleven. The three of you took up too much time in our last segment, so I get to do them by myself right now. Vernon Adams Jr., the story of the first half, 18 of 24, 173 yards, 2 TDs with that 1 pick. On the flip side, Jake Mayer, 7 of 15 with 56 yards. He's got a lot of work to do in this second half. His Stamps currently down by 10. We'll get you back to Rod and Glenn right after this.
15 in that first half for 56 yards. How much of that is just first game rust?
None. We got to come out and execute. We just got to play a better second half. That's all that matters now. Everything that happened in the first half doesn't really matter anymore. We just got to play better right now, and I think we will.
You were so close to connecting with your 2 key targets. You had Malik in the end zone. You had that over route, the deep in route to Bagleton. How important is it to get them involved if you combine for just 2 catches in that half?
Yeah, I mean, we're right there. We're right there. We make or miss league, right? We make those plays, and we're feeling great. We don't, and we feel like the sky's falling. It's somewhere in between. It's really neither one of them. So they're going to be involved now. We got to get it going now.
Thanks for this.
Yep.
Blunt assessment from Jake Mayer on his performance in that first half.
Yeah, and I like even keel, and you got to get him involved, get your playmakers the football, and he knows that. There's Malik and there's Bagleton, and that's a good way to sort of assess it. Somewhere in the middle, they were close. I mean, 2 touchdown throws that were there, and they may even have the lead.
A couple missed field goals by Bredes you don't often see. So Terry Williams, BC to start with the football here in the second half as Bredes coming in himself, Silas Stewart too, and Mike Alway in special teams, the one to take Williams down. So Vernon Adams, his first half numbers 18 of 24 for 173 right out of the gate on that opening drive. Quite a statement for him.
Yeah, it went 9 for 9 in that first drive, and it was just like nice timing throws, great accuracy, game plan running just the way they drew it up through training camp and coming out of camp in that preseason where he went 12 of 12 against the Stamps and then was pulled for the backups. But a couple touchdown throws to Dominic Rhymes. Calgary made some adjustments, played a lot better defensively in the second quarter.
Adams and the Lions start the second half at their 47 with a 10-point lead, 13-3. Throwing right away, Justin McInnes. And his first catch as a member of the BC Lions. McInnes coming over as a free agent. He had been with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, and apparently had a real good camp. We had a great talk with Dominic Rhymes before this one, and Rhymes was just raving and sort of unsolicited about how great he was in camp and how he kind of inspired Dominic to actually push even harder to make those contested catches and those 50-50 balls. And good to hear. It looks like he's poised to have a big season, Justin McInnes.
First catch is a Lion for 3 yards and a 2nd and 7. Adams has time. He's flushed out. Derek Wigan trying to chase him down. Mike Rose can't get him. Finally does take off, and he is knocked down there by an incoming Micah Awe. And not nearly enough for a first down, so it'll be a quick 2-and-out for BC to start this second half.
Yeah, it looked like he had something when he came back because his O-line sort of had the edge and had the angle. He goes to his right first, and then he puts the brakes on here, comes all the way back the opposite direction, but Awe with that great speed from middle linebacker, he comes in and says enough of that.
James Vodder's in on that too as well with Awe. To punt, some pressure on Flintoff, who gets it away. And that hits right down around the 15-yard line. And they mark it at the 16. It's got to go inside the 15 in the air, or else it's a penalty. So a good break here for the Stampeders, bringing some heat on Flintoff to try to get it inside that 15, and instead better field position coming up here for Calgary.
Punt out of bounds, BC number 11. It's a 10-yard penalty. First down, Calgary.
Used to be you only had to get it inside the 20. Last year they changed it to inside the 15. So
they said it was somewhere in the middle. There's a touchdown throw. Should have been. Malik Henry catches that in his sleep. Didn't in that case. A couple that have been really close. Looked like at times he was out of sync at the timing with his receivers a little bit in that first half. He was at about 50% completion percentage and under 100 yards throwing. So some adjustments made at halftime. We'll see what they got.
Ball in the Calgary 27 with that penalty for Jake Mayer. Faking it to Carey, dumping it off to Begelton. Out of bounds he goes.
You know, I mean, that's a little swing pass to Begelton, right? And this is what he's talking about that is just a little bit off. If Begelton catches that going forward with his eyes down, in other words, a lower throw, then he's got a chance to make a play here, but he has to reach up. Now he makes the catch and they get a few, but that could have been a bigger play with a slightly more accurate throw. And I think that's what Jake Mayer was talking about, just a little bit off here and there.
TJ Lee there to push him out of bounds after a gain of 5. Second down, Mayer. Off to his right, completing that one to Begelton again. First down and more across the 40.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that is what you're talking about, and Begelton makes something with it after the catch.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now look at the accuracy on this throw. And this is what we saw last year, and this is what he's capable of, and this is why it's now his team. I mean, the timing on the throw, right out of the break, bang, there he gets it on the sideline, gets it nice and low so he can turn his shoulders upfield and pick up some yards after the catch. I mean, that's what, when you throw it accurately, you give your receiver a chance.
In 2019, Begelton had over 1,400 yards receiving before heading off to the NFL. Hitting Carey over the 45, closer to the 50 now for Calgary.
Kadeem Carey can do it all. I mean, he can make you miss. He's got great breakaway speed, but he'll also lower his shoulder, too. This is Bo Lacombo coming downhill to make a tackle in the hole, and they just, that's a... Look at this.
Picks up 7 more yards. He has 6 carries for 31. 2nd and 3. Well, in behind Trey Odoms-Dukes with TJ Lee right on him. And he's not able to hang on to that. Thrown in behind, so Stampeders will have to punt.
Well, it's the right read. It's the right idea. This is you're going to see a blitz here from Hladek, number 46. He's the middle linebacker. He's going to end up going. Now, right now, Jake Mayer knows that if he comes at the thing, I'm throwing it right over the middle. That's where the linebacker just left. Throws an accurate throw there right out in front. He's got a first down.
Cody Grace has been averaging nearly 60 yards a punt in this game. From the Calgary 40 with Terry Williams waiting back forward at his 20. A mere 41 for Cody Grace that time around. Still not bad. Dominic Rhymes, talk about not bad. That first half, opening possession. He had a touchdown. Then in the second quarter, he added another. The difference right now is BC leads it. And now, season debut, first ever Coors Light moment of chill. And there he is, Dominic Rhymes. It's nice and relaxed, maybe a little foreshadowing what's to come.
How about a couple of touchdowns in the first half with those solid hands? Number 19.
The Coors Light moment of chill. Showing him before, showing him now. 2 touchdowns this season to his credit. BC ball. On opening night, there's somebody chilling with a Coors Light. McMahon Stadium on opening night.
So if my mic goes dark for a bit here,
we'll understand.
You know what happened.
Big Mizell, and they got him wrapped up nicely. Titus Wall, strong side linebacker. Some big plays last year for the Stampeders in his first season with Calgary, but stops Mizell there for actually a loss of a yard.
Defenders are going to get used to Mizell quickly. I mean, that takes about a half. You get to know exactly what he's got, and how quick he is, and things like that.
He had 63 yards combined in the first half for BC. 2nd and 11 now after 26. With a 3-man rush as Adam steps up, finds an open receiver, and that is Dominic Rhymes again. Rhymes has it up around the 44, near the 45 BC, and a first down.
Vernon Adams here just doing a nice job of reading the defense and going through his progressions. You hear that all the time, the progression for the quarterback. He goes to that primary receiver. He doesn't like what he sees there. He works through. He's negotiating the pocket at the same time, steps up and delivers a strike.
Hollins with it.
Now that wasn't a reading play. That last one to Hollins. That's a quick throw. That's just, he knows the defender's off. Quick throw, no reading necessary. Get it to a playmaker real quickly.
And follows up a gain of 18 before with 8 more yards. And a second down and short. Now Jordan Maximic, the offensive coordinator for the BC Lions.
I'd say last year did a pretty good job, as the panel mentioned. That's continuing working with a new starter.
Nathan Rourke, just an explosion against Edmonton last year in their season opener. Great start for Vernon Adams here in this game in Calgary. Mizell on the 2nd and short, and easily has 2 and more to pick up another BC first down.
And by the way, congratulations to Nathan Rourke. He's getting married here in Calgary, and some of his former BC Lions teammates will be in attendance. So congratulations to him, taking a little break. Jacksonville, and we will be following my new favorite team in the NFL.
The Jacksonville
Jaguars.
Nathan Rourke, I'm sure many will be following his progress in the NFL, and always mixed emotions when you see what he could do. A Canadian quarterback in the CFL, just outstanding last year. Calgary 53. So across midfield after the Mizell carry, and a first down, and that one is to Lucky Whitehead. A quieter opener for him.
Well, We have this switch that I have here on this talkback on my microphone that goes right to the producer, John Hines, in the truck. And I said, John, what about Lucky Whitehead? He's been very quiet as they throw the ball to Lucky Whitehead. So you got to get number 7 involved. I mean, big play guy down the field.
I think Jordan Maximic's listening to you on your intercom?
No, I don't think he's doing that, but
he's got other stuff going on.
Got to get Lucky Whitehead in the game.
Well, he gets 5. Second down, BC. Calgary 48. Adams. He's taken it down as he tried to take off. It is James Vaughters, a member of the Stampeders back in 2017 and 18, won a Grey Cup with Calgary, and then he went to the National Football League for several years with the Chicago Bears and Atlanta Falcons, and comes back to the CFL and the Stamps in 2023.
Yeah, in those 2 years with Calgary, he had 11 sacks. He's on the right side, number 9, on the right side of your screen, and he's just going to take an inside move. And that's really a team sack because the rest of those D linemen contained Vernon Adams, didn't let him escape outside, made him step up into Vaughters' arms.
And the punt goes into the end zone by Stephen Flintoft as Peyton Logan just touches it. And a single point scored. The Rouge for BC as they get their first point of the second half and extend their lead to 11. Steve Carell as Michael Scott. A lot of great characters in that show, and you can see it now every episode on Prey. First and 10, the Calgary 40, and it's in the hands of Reggie Begelton. Gets up across the 45.
That's one way to get him the ball.
Little different, isn't it? A gain of 6 yards.
Direct snap. By the way, Jake Mayer on that play fakes like the ball has gone over everyone's head.
Right.
Try to draw a defensive lineman's attention for just a split second.
And Begelton takes that direct snap and goes 6. Second and 3. Stampeders still in this. BC's dominated this opener, but 11 points.
Yeah, that Calgary defense is keeping them in it right now.
They really are. 2 scores. And we talked earlier about things that could have gone differently for Calgary as Mayer completes it. And that is the rookie out of Guelph, Clark Barnes, with actually his second catch. First one for positive yardage and a first down for Calgary. Barnes drafted in the 3rd round, 24th overall. And they were high on this guy in training camp.
Yeah, he doesn't make the catch without this block from Kadeem Carey on the backside to put the block on Racumba there, the linebacker, so that Jake Mayer can dump it off there. But yeah, they are real excited about Clark Barnes.
Up in midfield now in a first down. Tommy Stevens is in. Running quarterback, usually in short yardage, and tried to find the edge there after the fake to Carey, and not much for Stevens. On the
interesting play after a couple of completions in a row from Jake Mayer, but he's had success, you know, at times. I mean, you got to play against BC last year at the end of the season, had 163 yards rushing the football. So they know he can get that done. He didn't on that play.
Actually lost a yard, Tommy Stevens, who had an 85-yard run for a touchdown last season. Longest run in the CFL. Mayer is picked off on that second down play. TJ Lee dishes it off. And who's the last to touchdown? To touch it, would it be Calgary football here? Lee had it and threw it back. And it got fumbled, and it is Calgary ball. Break for Mayer and the Lions.
Yeah, it is a break. It breaks out. It's a break for Jake Mayer because he fell away from this throw. I mean, he didn't step into it. He got a little pressure and he was fading away from it. Didn't get anything on it.
Ruling on the field was an interception, followed by a fumble. Last touch by Calgary. First down, Calgary.
Now it looks
the
like
play
Rick
will automatically be reviewed by command center.
This is the fumble.
TJ Lee at the pick, trying to toss it back to Gary Peters. Saying the Stamps are the last to touch it, so still Calgary ball.
Well, let's take another look because TJ Lee tries to pitch it back to Gary Peters, and I thought Peyton Logan may have batted it, and then the question was, did Malik Henry touch it before it went out of bounds? Now, it was well outside of the stripe. It looked like before it touched it, but I believe the officials ruled on that it was hit by Peyton Logan first, and that's what started it in that direction.
Bottom line, it's still Calgary ball and a first down from the 52. Setting up a draw to Logan. Lots of room, or he is bumped down by Manny Rugamba. And a first down for Calgary and a gain of 13 yards for Peyton Logan.
You know, those plays are fun. You know, like, and in fact, coaches will encourage you to, you know, go out and play loose and have some fun. And TJ Lee is a veteran. Tried to pitch it out to Gary Peters. Turnover comes off the board. You know, it's, you don't want to say you can't do it, but another chance for the Stamps.
Giving them some life now. Kadeem Carey, room on the right side, and a good tackle. Coming in, Josh Woods, linebacker BC, to take Carey down.
Meanwhile, Jake Mayer is going, whew.
Dodge one there.
Yeah, because he would like to have that throw back. He was fading away when he threw that pick to TJ Lee.
Pick up a 4 for Kadeem Carey and a 2nd and 6 coming up. So we're just under 4 minutes to go until three-quarter time. And it's an 11-point game. Stampeders, despite being outplayed, have been hanging around a 2-score game. See what they can do here in the remainder of the third quarter. As Mayer just takes off. Lots of room in the middle. The middle linebacker Ben Vladeck ultimately comes to take him down, but not before he picks up 9 more yards and another first down for the Stamps.
Yeah, it looked like Ben Vladeck right there is going to drop. And once he drops now, he knows that Jake Mayer knows that he's got that linebacker about 15, 20 yards away. He can just hit that hole up the middle. I mean, that one really opened up for him. He didn't even hesitate.
Play fake, look to the right, and batted away by Gary Peters, the intended Calgary receiver. So another good defensive play by BC. The 2nd and 10 coming up at the Lions 31. Malik Henry.
Well, he told us. He told Farhan at halftime. He said, "We got to get 11 involved. We got to get Bagleton going." TJ Lee reminds me of his defensive coordinator. He and Ryan Phillips were the same kind of guy.
That was a great player, wasn't it? Ryan Phillips' days with the Lions. Looking right, looking down deep inside the 5. Quincy Maje is there with Clark Barnes, and it stays at the 31, and now looks like Rene Paredes will be coming back on to try his 4th.
Yeah, you know, I think Barnes here, he kind of stumbles coming out of his break on this corner route. He might have had a chance to come back to this ball if he came out clean. I mean, there's pressure on Jake Mayer, and he takes a hit delivering it. But I thought Barnes had a chance at that. He just sort of stumbled. Looked like Mayer's going to go over and have a little chat with the young rookie receiver.
He missed from this point 39 yards in the first half. Missed it left. He's 1 for 3, and will make it 2 for 4 as Paredes puts 3 more on the board for Calgary. Still down, now by 8. A positive force, whether it's going well or not, for Vernon Adams, who learned that lesson a long time ago. Back to Farhan.
Yeah, it actually happened during his college time. And the one thing I didn't know about Vernon Adams was just how good of a teammate he was. He really showed that to me when Nathan Rourke came back last year, late in the year and into the playoffs. I asked him where that came from, and he said it happened to me during my redshirt freshman year in college. There was a quarterback named Kyle Padron who actually followed Bo Levi Mitchell from SMU to Eastern Washington. Early in that redshirt freshman year, Vernon took Padron's job, and the way Padron handled it really left an impact on Adams. He said he was incredibly positive, incredibly supportive. He had every reason to be upset after transferring, but he didn't do that. So for him, that matters to him, and he wanted to make sure that when Nathan came back, whatever he needed to do to support him, he was going to do that. This team loved playing for Rourke a year ago. They love playing for Vernon equally now.
Interesting, Farhan. You could see that in Montreal with Adams as well. Despite everything he went through there, he completes another one to Dominic Rhymes. First down up across midfield for BC, but ultimately Trevor Harris took his job, and he tried to remain a positive force and a good teammate in that Alouette team until he was traded away to BC.
Yeah, you know, I think Rick Campbell kind of summed it up really well with Vernon Adams, talking about how we shouldn't misinterpret his humility and his appreciation for the opportunity. You know, sometimes you look at that and say, well, he's just happy to be there. No, he's a competitive guy that shows great respect to his teammates, does whatever he's asked.
And he's looking deep here. Talk about big play. VA nearly had one right there. The Dominic Rhymes again down inside the 5. It was close. There's Jonathan Moxey in on that coverage in the Calgary secondary.
Well, he wins 50-50s more than he doesn't, but this was 2-on-1 on Dominic Rhymes. Just leans to that corner outside, corner route, and then back to the post seam. And Moxey comes out and helps Daly out. Daly goes down without Moxey there on the inside. That's a catch.
Close, would have been close to another touchdown for Rhymes. Already has 2 in this game. 2nd and 10 at the Calgary 53. The lead down to 8 for BC. Javon Couture. Close to another first down. A gain of 8 gets it just across the 45 of the Stampeder.
Yeah, see that little burst by Couture? He knew where the first down marker was, and he knew he was about 4 yards short. He gave it a little burst, fought with fought off that last tackle. It's sort of like when he catches this little screen, he hesitates there to let the blocking sit up, and then there's a jump step and then a little bit extra effort just to get it in short yardage.
So Dominic Davis is coming in on a 3rd down and 2 with the Calgary 45. Davis normally in short yardage, of course, stands under center. This is 2 yards they need, and what a big moment for the Stampeders defense right now. Late 3rd quarter, 3rd and 2.
Mike Rose time.
Standing under center. Tries it left side. Gets it and more. Good little run by Dominic Davis to comfortably get that BC first down.
Wow. You know, it's always a risk. It's always a risk when you try to take it wide because of any sort of shooting of the gap from a defender. And there was one. Calgary had one shot at him right there. And because of the speed of Dominic Rhymes to get outside of that angle, was it Titus Wall? No, it was Daly. It's Daly, the halfback, who had a chance at it and just missed the angle. First down, BC.
Converting on a 3rd and 2 to get it to the 37. Brent Bonson, the defensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders. Blitz coming. Adams steps up, still gets away. Mike Rose is chasing him. Mike Rose gets him. Then a little finish coming in late by Trey Roberson, who draws a flag. Rose already had him down. And Roberson came in, and Adams is upset. A flag comes out.
I think Adams is upset with his own teammate for retaliating on Roberson. The retaliation is the flag. The flag was already on the field. And, you know, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't want to do that. But Vernon Adams wants the first down for a late hit on the quarterback here. That's his priority. So the first one, there was no question. The flag came out immediately when this is a clean sack by Mike Rose. Plays over there. They're caught short. This
Major
is the
foul.
late hit.
Roughing the passer, Calgary, number 31. We have a player misconduct foul after the play, BC, number 51. Both those are 15-yard penalties. It's going to be an automatic first down for Calgary at the previous line of scrimmage.
He said Calgary, meaning BC, a first down, but Michael Couture, the center for the Lions, gets flagged for the retaliation.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, you're protecting your quarterback. You're trying to be there for your quarterback. You got your quarterback's back. But that second one,
that's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Cost you 15
yards. End of the 3rd quarter.
And Michael Couture knows better.
So the third quarter comes to an end. The bottom line for the Lions after those penalties, they still do advance. They still do have the ball, and a first down as Adams is taken down, and retaliation coming up from Couture. But it's an 8-point BC lead heading to the final 15. The numbers through three quarters, numbers can be deceiving because that suggests complete and utter dominance by BC. They do lead, Glenn, but they lead by 8 points. Defense is really standing up, especially in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, defenses are allowed to win too, and you know, even though the BC offense got off to such a great start, a couple of touchdown passes to Dominic Rhymes, 191 yards in the first half for Vernon Adams, and just 233 now total. So that was the third quarter where Calgary's defense has stepped up, really kept the Stampeders in this football game, and now it's up to Jake Mayer to get some of his playmakers the football.
And after all of this, still a one-score game. Touchdown Convert, Calgary get back in it. But after the penalties turned out to be coincidental. After the roughing the passer and then the retaliation by Michael Couture, it's BC ball. They have it inside the Calgary 40, down at the 37. Looking to add to that 8-point lead to start the fourth quarter. Adams calls his own number. Cameron Judge is there, down closer to the 30, and a gain of 6 on the ground for Vernon Adams.
This looked like it was a called quarterback draw from Jordan Maximic. It was Milton that talked about the running ability of Vernon Adams. Really opens up nicely right down Main Street. Good gain on first down.
Approaching the 31 and a 2nd and 4.
You can do that, but you're going to get your quarterback hit too much.
With lots of time, finds his receiver too. And guess who? Dominic Rhymes inside the 20. First down, BC.
Well, this is the fundamentals that I think that Vernon Adams worked on in the offseason. He talked about his hips and getting his hips through the throw and using more of his body to help so he's not just strong on him. But see how he gets the ball up on that shoulder, ready to let it go really quickly. If you hold the ball down too long and you have to move it up, that's an extra moment. It may be just split seconds, but that's the difference between Micah Alway picking that or a catch from Dominic Rhymes for a 13-yard gain. Good fundamentals from VA.
And even 100 yards receiving too for Rhymes on his 8th catch from the Calgary 18. Once again, lots of time for Adams, who chooses Lucky Whitehead and gets inside the 10, down to about the 7 for number 7. And a 1st and goal coming up here by the looks of things for the BC Lions.
Talked about his big plays last year. He's targeted over 100 times throughout the season, Lucky Whitehead, and had plays of 44, 43, had a 69-yarder against Edmonton. He had a 90-yarder against Saskatchewan. He can run. Has a lot of fun out there, too. He's a fan favorite, for sure, in Vancouver.
Had his fun in Winnipeg, too, in 2019 when he burst on the scene with the Bombers. But you're right, definitely with BC. Mizell, the ball carrier, trying to push his way down to the 5. He had a busier first half when he had 63 combined. Not many carries here in the second half for the debut of Taquan Mizell. 3 carries now.
Yeah, they've stopped that run in the second half, the Calgary defense, and Mizell's probably trying to grab some wind. I mean, it is very different coming from the States and then playing your first real game with a 20-second play clock and trying to, you know, you're winded most of the game.
It's been a long time between games for him, so 2nd and goal at the Calgary 5. Adams takes off. Touchdown, BC. Vernon Adams with a late flag coming out as well. Finds the end zone himself.
No way to get in that zone. Look at this right here. It's a thing of beauty.
And another flag comes out as Jonathan Moxey argues. Already one out earlier after Adams had scored the touchdown.
Vernon Adams played off his right tackle, Kent Perkins, there very nicely. Give you a good look at this. This is Perkins, number 59, here on the outside. Now watch, if this is stopped here, then he steps up, Vernon Adams steps up and throws the football. But because Perkins takes his man beyond Adams and just runs him by, Adams has that run lane in between guard and tackle. He takes it. There's a late hit from Dozier.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary, number 3. We also have a misconduct 10-yard penalty against Calgary, number 2. Both penalties will be applied on the kickoff.
So first Brandon Dozier, then Jonathan Moxey, and one angry head coach, Dave Dickinson.
Dave Dickinson wants Jonathan Moxey for a word or two. Let's take a look. Dozier, there's no question about that hit. He's already in the end zone.
Adams took his hits on this drive, didn't he? Leading to Calgary penalties, but that was 10 plays, 70 yards, and the third touchdown drive for BC in this season opener. And Adams has been a part of all 3. Throwing 2 to Rhymes, scoring 1 himself. Sean White with the point after. And now the lead is up to 15. What a season debut for Vernon Adams Jr. Lions in control in the fourth quarter.
Well, that last way we showed you the tackle in Perkins and how Vernon Adams read that. Now we show you the bind that Micah Alway, the middle linebacker, gets in. He has to take this crossing route from Holland, and now he's in a bind because if he stays with his receiver, which is his responsibility, Vernon Adams runs. If he goes after Vernon Adams, he's still behind the line of scrimmage, and Vernon Adams throws it to Alexander Holland. Can't be right in the linebacker's position at that point. He tries to react to it and can't get there in time.
And hits him just as he's crossing, and it was Dozier coming in after he crossed the line. Vernon Adams gets the touchdown, and Calgary gets a couple of penalties here. So advancing the kickoff point, Clark Barnes taking it and just taking a knee to make it a 16-point game. Gives up the single as Jake Mayer comes on again, and the biggest hole so far in this game for the Calgary Stampeders. Really significant drive. Remember the 3rd and 2 when Dominic Davis came in at the end of the third quarter in this drive.
Play. Yeah,
that was a big one to extend it. Interesting turning point in this one. And some frustration for that man, Dave Dickinson. Had a lot of success. Now the head coach and general manager of the Calgary Stampeders taking over that second title.
73, 29, and 2.
Remarkable. Taking over as head coach back in 2016. Winning a championship 2 years later. 12 and 6 last year. And with some work to do in the remaining minutes to avoid starting 0-1. Let's go down to Farhan.
Guys, not looking good for Kadeem Carey right now. He was in the tent on a couple of occasions here. Looks like a lower body, possibly his right foot. He's come out, he's tried it, he hasn't felt comfortable. Medical staff and players have asked him, he's shaking his head like he's not coming back in, but he just went and grabbed his helmet, so you never know given how much of a competitor he is. But right now, it doesn't look good.
This is what happened to Kadeem Carey. Thank you, Farhan. The leading rusher in the CFL last year. 7 carries on the night.
Yeah, I remember this play. He got to the outside and it looked like Josh Woods maybe landed on his legs and on his feet, and that's what bothered him on the sideline. He was in the tent. That's a new thing for CFL this year. They're going to have the medical tent so that the opponent can't see the extent of the possible injury of player. But this is the last play in short yardage, and Jake Mayer stays in for it, gets a new set of downs.
And on this first down, little play fake off to the right. Clark Barnes, the rookie, picks up a few more yards down to note the 45 of BC. 4-yard gain.
Mallard. On tempo. All the plays on the line of scrimmage.
BC 44. That's complete to Trey Dukes. Good effort after they got a handle on him. Ben Hladek was there, but Dukes ends up picking up 10 yards and is slow to get up. A first down for Calgary as he heads off.
Yeah, they'll take a look at him, but it looked, at least he was able to run off on his own. Hey, Razorback! Ben Hladek, the linebacker, making the tackle.
Inside the 35. 9-11 on the clock in the fourth quarter. 22-6. And BC just about the entire way.
Malik Henry doesn't know the play. They have to call it.
Couldn't call a timeout.
Time count violation. Calgary, number 12.
So they have to take the
5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
Both timeouts were exhausted in the first half.
Double right, RNX on. Razorback.
Yeah, Malik Henry through that play was trying to get the call, and it looked like Jake Maier at times had something called. Watch Henry. He's like, what was that? No, I can't be right with this formation, and take the time down.
So on the ground to Peyton Logan, in for the injured Gadeem Carey. Heard Farhan's report earlier about Carey's injury. Logan in week 2 last year in Hamilton, after Carey went down with an injury, spelled him off and did a very good job as Stamps running back until he got hurt. Primarily a returner, getting more now. It's done by Reggie Beckman. Inside the 25, TJ Lee takes him down, but it is another Calgary first down.
A little bit of leadership, by example here from Reggie Beggleton. He knew where the marker was. That penalty put him in a tough situation because it made it second and long, but he knew immediately, I got to get there. He catches that, puts it under that arm immediately, turns and sprints to the marker.
Calgary's offense has a drive going. Do they ever need it right now? Trailing by 16 points with exactly 8 minutes to go. There. Pressure is coming. Betts nearly gets him. He gets it away. It's incomplete, intended for Barnes.
Yeah, that's full on. They're after him there. Can't block them all in this case. And here they come. Jake Maier sees it. He knows he's almost chucking and ducking here. He's got to cross and run. He's got to get it out of there because here they come.
Betts and Menard, opposing ends on that play, nearly meeting up at Maier, just gets it away in time, but incomplete. A 2nd and 10 at the Lion 23.
Okay, right now.
That one's complete. Dukes down at the 10. Stampeders finally have something going on offense.
I think our mics picked up head coach Dave Dickinson down there, because as this play was happening, I can almost hear him in my headset go, throw it now, we got him, throw it. And they get a 14-yard gain.
The old quarterback seeing it develop. Shouting on for Maier, and a 1st and goal at the BC 9. Stamp still don't have a touchdown. There's a look for one, but it's too far for Beggleton. So 2nd down coming up.
Get a 1st down without scoring here. Beggleton is going to run one of these ones. A little bit of a bend to the outside and then get right down the seam. Just bend it out a little bit, and then boom, you get a DB trying to cut underneath for the interception, and he had him. He had a chance.
Brian Phillips looks on. And a 2nd and goal. 9-yard line. Stamps need a touchdown. Complete to Beggleton, but Marcus Sales is right there to haul him down to set up 3rd and goal Stampeders. And a decision for Dave Dickinson. 16 points down. Under 7 minutes on the clock.
It's right.
They're going.
No sign of Rene Paredes. 3rd and goal. Approaching the 5. 12th play of the drive. There. End zone. Touchdown. Trey Dukes has it. Calgary's getting back in it.
Paid the price, but any receiver will tell you if y'all take the hit for the touchdown, especially in this situation. The Calgary Stampeders just had to have it, and they go for it on third down. Nice throw down the seam. He's going to take a hit from Moget. He does, but hangs on. Remember, he went off a couple plays earlier, 3 plays to be exact, because you have to sit out 3 plays.
And they're going for it, and going for 2, which makes sense because if they kick the 1, it's still a 2-score game.
Absolutely.
To get it down to 8 in a 1-score game, they need the 2 points here. Not a difficult decision in this scenario, as Mayer lines them up. Trying to make it 22-14. Getting chased by Cherry. Into the end zone, no, nearly, but it's incomplete. So it'll stay a 10-point game, looking for Odom's Dukes again, and the 2-point conversion, which fails. But the Calgary offense finally got a spark. 86 in the end zone. 22-12, fourth quarter, BC.
Different offensive set on this 2-point convert attempt. This is Bagleton's going to push the flat with Peyton Logan out as a receiver coming on a crossing route. Now, Jake Mayer gets outside of this. He doesn't like the initial one. He's looking the opposite way. He wanted to go backside. Now he's scrambling and has a choice. He's got a chance to possibly run the ball there. He might get to the corner. Odom's Dukes in the middle has a clean shot at catching it. And by the way, that's where Jake Mayer has to throw the football. Blown away inside because Gary Peters was breaking downhill hard, and Odom's just dropped it. Odom's Dukes just drops the ball.
He did get the touchdown catch, though, that put 6 more on the board for them, but they are trailing by 10. As BC gets the ball here, Terry Williams across the 20. Feeling his way up across the 30. 5:52, so under 6 minutes to go. Vernon Adams, last possession. They drove down, and he scored the touchdown. McMahon Stadium in Calgary opening night, CFL 23, and the visiting BC Lions have a 10-point lead over Calgary. Under 6 minutes to go, and the Lions have the ball. Vernon Adams, what a night. Handing off. And that's Mizell. Daquan Mizell taking it left side.
Happens to be CFL royalty in the house.
Huey Campbell, legend, Hall of Famer, father of the head coach of the Lions, although he's wearing a Red Blacks jacket.
On the old team. Yeah,
the old team for Rick Campbell, where he won a Grey Cup. But Louis Huey, great receiver with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and a legendary head coach for the Edmonton Eskimos, as they were known then. 5 straight Grey Cup titles. Hugh Campbell on to cheer on son Rick and the BC Lions here at McMahon. Under 5 minutes to go, Adams gets it away, and he had Rhymes open. He had to get rid of it in a hurry as he is hit.
Jonathan Moxey has got to make a couple of plays, and he just did, to get back in his coach's good books, because a couple of plays ago he came in, got a bit of an earful. He's at the edge of your screen on the right, and he's going to come in, and he's the guy who's going to force a throw that is not accurate enough to get it to Dominic Rhymes. That's a big play for a lot of reasons for Jonathan Moxey.
And that's the 4th 2-and-out for the BC Lions. So 4:50 on the clock. There in the Stamps to get the ball back. That's Clark Barnes back for the punt return and draws a flag as well for the no yards. Not over yet.
Not
the
even
Stampeders.
Close. Oh.
Not when you got 4:40 on the clock still and only 10 points. We've seen more than that erased in less time. 15-yard penalty on the no yards, by the way. So better field position for the Stamps to start, but that one not hung on by Malik Henry.
Yeah, I think Calgary's going to go back and look at this video and say we had opportunities to drop passes. Now there is lots of time. Canadian football, the final 3 minutes at this with this score is still plenty of time, but a few drops here and there from receivers have been possible.
Second down up near midfield. There gets it away over Begelton. Flag comes out. The coverage from Manny Rugamba, who holds his hands out as if to say, who, me?
But you grab me. You grab me.
I'm not sure about this one. It didn't look like, I mean, Reggie Begelton, you got a great look at
Defensive pass
Rugamba working
interference.
on him.
BC number 33. This will be a 10-yard penalty. First down, Calgary.
Well, we didn't see until the replay the sweater.
Little tug in the jersey.
Yeah, the tug in the jersey and on the break, and that's where the flag comes out. No challenge.
So with that penalty in Lion territory now at the BC 47, Begelton has it. Cuts back, gets it down closer to the 40. Good run by Begelton to get 5 yards after catching it for essentially no gain.
And now with the wind at the back of the Calgary Stampeders in this fourth quarter, they're in field goal range now. Down by 10, they need both.
Need a touchdown and a field goal. Home there gets hit hard. Siomi Tuhema while he was still standing up.
Go.
Hits Bear. Seems fine as he heads back and quickly looks to call a play.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dave Dickinson is thinking here. He takes a big hit here, doesn't get first down. But Rene Paredes is going to go and try to get the first step accomplished in this comeback attempt by the Calgary Stampeders, because they need both. They need the field goal and a major. Lots of time to get another possession if their defense steps up again, but you got to make this one first.
Well, he was an all-star last year. He had 5 field goals, over 50 yards. This a 52-yard attempt. Nicely done for Rene Paredes, and a big field goal after a rough start for him in this season opener, missing the first 2, making the next 3. That one makes it a 1-score game. BC still leading in the fourth quarter by 7. 1-score game. Now a 7-point lead after the field goal, a 52-yarder by Rene Paredes. Normally in CFL rules, it has to be a kickoff.
Inside of 3 minutes.
Inside of 3 minutes. That wasn't official, though, at the time of the kick.
They're saying it was outside of 3 minutes, so BC can choose to take the ball in the 40.
As they've chosen to take. So they take it out at the 40 now for Vernon Adams. And trying to protect that 7-point lead and kill some clock now. And a short gain on first down by Mizell. Cameron Judge in there. Michael Howard. They want to force a 2-and-out, get the ball back.
Well, both Mike Alway and Cameron Judge have been around a little bit. And they know that there's lots of time. They just need a 2-and-out right here, so they get Mizell in the hole. Alway stuffs it with help from Judge. And now Vernon Adams got to make a play here for the BC Lions,
who are 11 for 22 in second down conversions. And it's 2nd and 7 at their own 43. Huge for the Stampeders defense right now. Down there, 2 minutes to go. Pressure coming, gets it away. It's caught. Justin McInnes with the coverage there. McInnes reaches up, brings it down, 12 yards, first down BC.
That's big. That's big for Justin McInnes, who has had a quiet evening here in Calgary, and this time he's going to run that little out route right at the marker. And Vernon Adams wasn't sure. He was up and he had to go and win the jump ball, and this is what Dominic Grimes was telling us about. He did this all through camp, winning these jump balls, inspiring the rest of the guys. That's a biggie.
Just his second catch as a BC Lion, but that is huge as they hang on to the ball. Down to 1:38 on the clock, and now the run from Mizell. Salo, the rookie for the Stamps, in there to take him down, but it's a first down again, BC. A gain of 18 yards from Mizell in his CFL debut.
Rod, that's what Justin McInnes's catch does. It does a couple of things. First of all, it's huge, gets another set of downs, of course, for the BC Lions, but it's also takes the wind right out of the comeback sail for the Calgary Stampeders because they're down. This is the catch, and it's a beauty, up and ripping it away. Jonathan Moxey can't play it any tighter than that. He is right there, maintains possession, gets the first, and on the very next play, the Calgary defense got their head down.
So BC gets it to the 37 of the Stamps. More importantly for them, not much time to go. Keenan LaFrance has recently joined the Lions after being let go by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Lost a yard on that carry, 1:07 on the clock. Product of the University of Manitoba. Originally drafted by Ottawa. The Stampeders do not have a timeout. Lost the challenge in the first half. Used a timeout later in that half.
That's the timeout mark down to the bottom. Empty.
2nd and 11. Desperately needing a stop. They get it there. Mike Awe has been coming in, and he does get Adams down, and a 3rd down coming up in field goal range for Sean White.
Yeah, it gets it back, and then it gets it back to 2 possessions.
Can put it away with a field goal here. Last November, these two teams met at BC Place in the West semifinal. And the Lions won it 30-16, moving on to Winnipeg to face the Bombers in that West final last year. Stampeders, so a good chance to make a statement here in week 1 against the team that knocked them out. But BC could have another knockout blow coming up right now in a 45-yard try from the veteran. Sean White with Flintoff to put it down.
Timeout, BC.
So Rick Campbell calls a timeout.
Well, the only reason that he would do that with his
Please
kicker...
reset the game clock to 25 seconds. Please reset the game clock to 25 seconds. Thank you.
With his kicker out there, because I'm sure there are some saying, well, he just iced his own kicker. That's what the opposition is trying to do, to call a timeout just before the snap so that the kicker has to think about it a little bit longer on a really important field goal. But in this case, either the formation wasn't right and you might get it blocked, or he was worried about a time count. And he's got a veteran kicker that he's, I'll just say, confident in, because I don't want to jinx any kickers.
I was going to say the kickers tonight, given their experience and accuracy, and Paredes and White, it'd be difficult to ice either of them. Sean White, 44. And that'll do it.
Yep.
2-score game again. 20 seconds on the clock. And the BC Lions are going to leave Calgary 1-0.
Yeah, just money from Sean White. And this, you know, believe it or not, there's still time with 30 seconds to go for a couple of quick throws or a deep route for Calgary to complete the comeback. And Rick Campbell, with his dad in attendance, says, not tonight. I got a veteran kicker who led the league in kicking percentage last year. He wasn't the CFL All-Star, but he led the league. And I'm not sure there's a kicker in the game I'd rather have than Sean White to finish it off with.
Started off with the BC Lions, went to Montreal and then Edmonton, and then came back last year. But the man of the hour right there, Vernon Adams. He was here in Calgary for the season opener 1 year ago with the Montreal Alouettes, and they lost by a field goal by Paredes in the final minute. And Adams, a few weeks later, would lose his starting job to Trevor Harris. Farhan talked about earlier, lessons learned earlier in his career to try to stay positive and stay a team guy. He comes over when he knows it's Nathan Rourke, number 1, and Rourke comes back last year. Adams gives way. But Rourke leaves to the NFL, and it's his job. And he has made the most of it so far in 2023. Clark Barnes on the return. Let's have another look at maybe a catch that'll be unsung, but it was key on that last drive to set up the field goal.
Well, Dominic Rhymes was the best receiver for the Lions in the game. This was the biggest catch. I mean, this was a chance really around midfield on a second down throw. If they don't get this, Calgary gets the ball back. They still have lots of time to drive for the tying score. Justin McInnes, in second catch of the night, comes up with a monster play right there, and that sets up the field goal that shuts it down.
Seconds remaining now in a 10-point game as they back up, and Luther Hakunavanu takes it from Jake Mayer. For BC, heading home. You heard all the hype about LL Cool J. We're going to have our panel out there for their home opener. A lot of excitement when they take on the Edmonton Elks. And that man, a lot of excitement about him, Vernon Adams. And I'm very curious to see what the atmosphere is like at BC Place. They had a great atmosphere before their home opener last year, too. Peyton Logan adds to some stats in the final play of the game. Opening night. How about an opening act from Vernon Adams Jr. right from the first possession. 9 for 9 down the field and a touchdown pass to Dominic Rhymes. The BC Lions never look back as they come into Calgary and they defeat the Stampeders 25-15. First night of the Canadian Football League season. And it's a good-looking night for the team that wore the road grays, the Lions. Heading home 1-0 with more football to come in week 1. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN. SportsCenter is next.
And the 2023 season began Thursday night with two teams turning the page at the quarterback position. The Stampeders moving on from Bo Levi Mitchell and handing the reins to Jake Mayer. The Lions moving on from Nathan Rourke with intriguing talent, Vernon Adams Jr. Let's go to Cowtown, a rematch of last year's West semifinal. Adams Jr. making his first regular season start for BC. Adams Jr. traded to the Lions back in August, and he will try to fill the shoes of Rourke, who signed with Jacksonville to try to back up Trevor Lawrence first quarter. Adams Jr. to Dominic Rhymes for the touchdown. Adams Jr. was 9 for 9 with 81 yards on his opening drive. 7-0 for the Leos. Second quarter, Adams Jr. scrambles and finds beautiful throw to find Rhymes again for the 30-yard strike. Adams Jr. and Rhymes connecting for 2 touchdowns on the Lions' first 3 drives, and it's 13-0. Still in the second, Vernon looking downfield on a beautiful evening in Calgary, but this time intercepted by Cam Judge, who will return it deep in the Lions' territory. The Montreal native led the CFL in big plays last season. The drive would result in a field goal. BC still held a 10-point lead heading into the half, and 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Mayer now back to pass. And with pressure, he's intercepted by TJ Lee. On the return, Lee attempts to lateral to Gary Peters. Peters fumbles it, scramble ensues, play is reviewed. Before the ball went out of bounds, Malik Henry got a hand on it, so Calgary actually keeps possession. They'd kick a field goal on the ensuing drive. And they made it interesting there for a bit. It made it a 1-possession game, but in the fourth, Lions deep in Calgary territory. And it's Vernon. This is what he can do. Make plays with his legs. Doing it all in his Lions regular season debut. It's a BC Lions win over Calgary to start the season. How did the two quarterbacks stack up? Vernon Adams Jr., a great game. 270 yards, 3 TDs, 2 through the air, 1 rushing. Mayer, though, 19 to 35 for just 160 yards. Here's Farhan Lalji with Vernon Adams Jr.
Vernon, I want to ask you just about both your performance and the team's performances. You completed over 75% of your passes, 270 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Are you happy with how you started the season here?
Yes, man. All glory to God. All glory to God, man. Came out here. We were prepared. We had a great week, man. Stalled a few drives there in the second quarter and a little bit in the third quarter, and then we finally got going a little bit towards the end. Defense held up their end of the bargain, man. did a great job against a great quarterback and a great offense, man. So just happy for the team to get this win on the road.
First quarter, you picked up where you left off in that preseason game. You talked about how you stalled at times. Did it feel like in the second half it was all about making timely plays when it mattered to keep the clock going?
Yeah, you know, we just got to give our defense some rest. Like I said, they held up their end of the bargain, and I got to move the ball more, get these guys the ball, take some time off the clock, flip the field, get some points, most importantly. So, yeah, I'm going to get better, though. I'm going to watch this film, and we'll all get better.
I know that there was a lot of talk about who's going to replace James Butler. It looked like Mizell held up his end of the bargain here.
Yeah, man, my guy Smoke, man, did his thing, man. He was good in protection, ran good, good out the backfield. I'm very excited for him.
Thanks for this.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Vernon Adams Jr., and look at this. Canadian Football Hall of Famer.
Look at us. Look at us.
I mean, us together. Look at us with these beards. Yes. How cool are we?
Yes. Feels good. Feels good.
You look fantastic.
Back at you, Jay. Back at you.
You look amazing. It's great to have you back in the building.
It's good to be back.
Man, I've been excited about Vernon Adams Jr. What did you think? How did you think he did in his debut?
Well, you know, 4-2 last year in replacing York, and really, he went and did what he had to do. He was dynamite in the first half. First drive was ridiculous, 9 of 9. A couple times he threw into coverage and he got bailed out by his teammates. But I can tell you, he handled himself, I think, extremely well. This right here, it was a mishap on defense, took full advantage of it. And no doubt that Dominic Rhymes and he have a little something going on. Why not? The guy was fantastic last year as well, and I'd be chunking him the ball as much as I could. And, you know, a guy that this play right here, I'd just credit Jordan McSimic for that, because that was complete design. Watch him here. Little man in motion. Everybody jumps on the man underneath. Dominic Rhymes sets up a replacement, and Daly, and they go to work. And Vernon just took full advantage. That's Jordan McSimic being out in front and giving the guys a good spot. And I think a lot of talk, Jay, was how Vernon was going to assimilate into McSimic's offense. Yeah. And I'd say if first indication for week one, pretty daggum good.
I thought he was great. And on the other side of the ball, how would you evaluate Jake Mayer?
Jake, well, I think BC's got his number, you know, and they had his number in the semifinal last year, and they had his number again tonight. Put him in some awkward situations. I was really surprised. In the first drive, Calgary really was having success running the football, and then they got away from it. I'm talking about for almost a quarter, and we were screaming at the screen, you know, because this is what Calgary Stampeders are. They control the line of scrimmage with the best running game in the league. Kadeem averages 6.6 yards a carry, and they held him in check pretty much to the whole football game and put Jake in some second and long situations. 2nd and 3, they're not pounding it in there. Yep. They're throwing the football as well. You know, so I think they're going to have to take a long, hard look at where they're at, and with some play calling. Yep. Mark Mueller's first time up there calling plays for the Stampeders, so a lot to be deciphered there for the Samps.
Former University of Regina legend Mark Mueller.
Nephew of one of the greatest, Ron Lancaster.
Shout out to Larry, too, your dad. Calgary next place in Ottawa. BC will host the Elks.
We'll be there.
In week 2. You guys are going to be in BC for that. That's going to be incredible. But this week is not done yet. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule. Maddie's going to be busy for the rest of the weekend.
Fly out in the morning.
Friday night, Tabbies against the Blue Bombers.
I'll be at that Red Blacks Alouettes game on Saturday.
That one will be great, too. Yeah. Alouettes 2.5-point home favorites against the Red Blacks. And then, Maddie, one of your old teams, Edmonton.
Yeah.
Someday they will win at home. Yeah. Maybe it'll be this Sunday.
Yeah, it's an ugly streak. 17 losses in a row at home. You got to get one of those, and I think it's going to happen for Chris Jones and the Elks this year.
Going to be a fun year. Great to have you on the show, buddy.
Absolutely, Jake. Good to see you, brother.